Hello, everybody. How are you today? I hope that you're doing well. I'm doing pretty all right. It was a very long weekend. I did 3 days of Renaissance Festival because there's 2 weekends out of the whole run where there's 3 days instead of only 2. So that was kind of exhausting, if we're being completely honest. Yeah, thank you for the makeup compliments. I'm not sure. I'm like, is this working? I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go along. Thank you for the compliments anyway, though. Let me make sure I got my chats all open so that I can see everybody. Because we have the YouTube chat, of course, where Paul Hack was in here pretty early. And Mars and But All Is Lost. Hello. It's top of the stream. Hit like on the stream if you haven't hit like on it yet. Aaron Green, what is up? It's good to see you. I love having orange names in the chat. I forgot that I made that the color for that. So welcome in. Hello. Decoy Duck, we have Mersh, Nouvenol, Raccoon Pope, Violet Lane. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Thank you. I appreciate the compliments. Poke. I haven't had poke before, but it sounds delicious. Yeah, where am I? Okay. And what's up, Nathaniel? How's it going? And we have Maria in the YouTube chat. How was everyone's weekend? Like I said, mine was a little bit tiring, but I'm having like a really good time seeing all the folks that I love out at the Renaissance Festival. And like, also there are a ton of just very obviously like clockable trans people, and people wearing pronoun pins and stuff. So I enjoy how being at Ren Fair feels like fundamentally queer to me. Love the inner eye shine. Thank you. I'm learning tricks about makeup, and I don't want to lose everybody right up top by talking about something as frivolous as eyeshadow. But suffice to say, I'm learning like the actual visual illusory tricks of like, if you put this type of thing in this place, it changes your face in this manner. So that's been a lot of fun for me. Good weekend. Enjoyed hanging out in my favorite Victorian small town and Victorian cigar shop. Very nice. Yeah, and the reason why it's cool to learn like how to change the way that your face looks is because like my eyes are not actually downturned. Like, you know, a lot of like the cat eye look kind of relies on your eyes being like shaped like at a diagonal like this. So it's like you're emphasizing that shape. My eyes just look like they're downturned because they're so heavily hooded. So I have to learn a bunch of stupid ass tricks with my makeup. It's not normal. Like I can't just do regular people makeup. I have to learn like all the specific stuff. Anyway, so that's a whole thing. That's a new hobby that I have. Has anyone else picked up any new hobbies recently? I want to get back into doing music more, but I just haven't made the time and energy for it. I'm hoping to make a little bit more time for music in the new apartment when the time comes, which, by the way, someone hit exclamation point move in the website chat for me real quick. Nathaniel says, great, my partner apologized to me. It took me a while, but I finally forgave him and we're back together. He promises to be patient with me this time. That sounds awesome. Okay, let me hit this. Yes, so I am still moving and I'm still have a GoFundMe running. And there's a Amazon wishlist there for housewarming gifts. Thank you, Tabaxi Bay. I am excited for my eye makeup exploration. And what's up, DeWoozle? I also want to get back into music. Yeah, I just find that music is something that I find easier to do when I am like less stressed out. And as you can imagine, I'm about to move, and that's kind of stressful. And I'm trying to get all my shit together, and that's kind of stressful. Listen, my ADHD is like, I know I'm going to forget shit and I need to do things like immediately. Like if I'm given a 3-day deadline, I have to be like, okay, this thing is going to get done in like now time, like tomorrow, you know, tomorrow morning even. I had to get my mother-in-law to help me with co-signing on my new place because my income, I guess, there was just not quite good enough. My credit's good enough, but I think my income, or the fact that I'm self-employed and I don't have like pay stubs, that might be part of why. And she didn't get the shit back to me until like the day of on the deadline. I was like, God, it's so difficult to wrangle other ADHD people. You know what I mean? But all is lost in the YouTube chat says, I've picked up one of my old hobbies, just had to knit a belt for a cardigan I thrifted. That's cool. I'm excited for you doing that. I am, so you, I don't know if any of you all have seen, I crocheted myself a top with like a star on it. And someone I know at Renfest was like, would you make me one just like that? I have some yarn. And I was like, cool. And then she paid me to do that. And I started working on it. And then the YouTube video tutorial thing that I was following for the pattern, because it was not a written pattern, it was a video, she made the video private. So now I have like this partially completed shirt, and I'm gonna have to go find my shirt and like try to fucking figure out what I did. And that's gonna be a challenge. And I don't have very much time left. I really only have like 4 days left to do that. Because this upcoming weekend is the last weekend of the Renaissance Festival. Hopefully the move is smooth. Yes, thank you, Dwoozle. I appreciate your well wishes. And thank you, CRB Vegas, for telling me that I look pretty. I also feel pretty today. I don't know. I'm trying to decide how I think of it. Hey, Gorge. Hey, Christy. Welcome in. Dwoozle says, once I moved into my new apartment, I realized I hate moving. I don't think I can do digital nomad shit. Yeah, that doesn't sound fun. I was definitely like, when I move out, I want to move into a place that I can just be for like a whole year and not have to think about it again for at least that long. Raccoon Pope says, I've been trying to pick up digital art after years of not drawing, and I have no idea what I'm doing. I made a whole alt Twitter account to post it into the void because it's not that great yet. Well, practice will get you there. One thing that I really like about digital art is that you can just hit the undo button. That is a great thing. Thank you, Christy. I appreciate that. I feel pretty. So pretty. How does it feel going to live on your own for the first time? I think at this time I am feeling fairly excited about it. It's still not my favorite thing in the whole wide world, you know, keeping in mind that it's because my partner and I are separating. So that makes it tough, and the feelings kind of go back and forth a little bit. Right now I'm feeling okay about it. I'm getting excited about the idea of getting to decorate the place to my specifications and stuff like that. Yeah, the undo button has been my savior, for sure. Posting art on Twitter is already like posting it into the void, TBH. Hard to grow an audience. It seems like when you post your own art on Twitter, it just drowns in the algorithm, right? Delicious. Drink water, everybody. How's everyone been? That's a good question. I always check in with people at the beginning of stream. How are you doing? How's it going? Hit like on the stream if you have not yet hit like on the stream, babes. Oh my God. Please and thank you. Should I try to do a full face? I don't know. I'm just like, I'll prime my eyes and then I'll do the eyes and that's it. Oh my God, Gorge. Gorge. Where did that even come from? Did that come from somewhere other than Natalie Wynn? Like, because the person that every time I say like, oh my God, Gorge, I'm thinking of Natalie Wynn. But I'm sure she's not the originator of that. I don't know. Do you consider yourself goth? Kind of. More or less, I guess. I don't know. I definitely had like an emo phase in high school, and I'm kind of getting back into that aesthetic. So sure, I am a medium titty goth and I don't know what I don't like any of the gender neutral words for partner. Like there's no equivalent emotionally to like boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, I don't know. What's the equivalent of yeah. I too am a medium titty goth NB friend. Like, I guess NB friend. There's just too many syllables. I'm babes. You are babes, Juno, Alaska. Oh my God. I don't know who Johnny Gilbert is. Yeah, Mersh says, I'm a beatnik. Sometimes I look like a biker in my civilian clothes. Yeah, you seem to me like a person who would be fairly butch, if that's appropriate for me to say. Is that a slur if I say it as a non-lesbian? Are non-lesbians allowed to say butch? Anyway. Yeah, I've been having a pretty decent time lately, though. I've been like, the main thing that I'm having trouble with is getting work done, but I have an editor now who's helping put content out on the channel, so that is useful. And she's very quick, so that's also good. She's just like getting them done. Very much appreciated. So some of the content that she's edited has already come out on the channel, and that means that I'm going to be able to keep things going, post more content and everything. Christy says, did I ever tell you in the Jess and Xena Discord there's a moratorium on any ContraPoints references because I quote her so much it's become annoying? Well, Christy, you're welcome here. We won't gatekeep you from the community for being such a big fan of Natalie Wynn that it's kind of annoying. I'm a former emo turned industrial goth. Yeah, I don't know what industrial goth means. I don't know what any subsections of the term goth. I know what pastel goth is, because that makes pretty direct sense. But otherwise, I don't know. Yes. So, we have we have quite a show lined up for us today. Because here's the thing. I am not going to stream later this week. On Thursday, for sure, I'm not streaming because of personal reasons. And on Friday, I will maybe stream, but probably not at the noon time slot. It'll probably be a little bit later because I am going to be helping my sister-in-law do some stuff around her house. So, because she has a baby who's like 3 months old and she needs help with the baby sometimes. So I'll be busy on that Friday morning as well. Jess recently offered a loophole on the ContraPoints references moratorium. As long as I don't make any self-deprecating remarks, I can reference Natalie again. Oh no. You have to choose between being self-deprecating and making Natalie Wynn references. That is a tough racket. Oh my gosh, that's tough. Pastel moth. Industrial moth aesthetic. True. I'm not a moth tattoo kind of person. I think they look cool. I don't think that's personally for me, but I do want to have like an artistic looking tattoo because all my tattoos so far are like plain black and white, no shading. I want to get like a flower or a lamp. I guess I could get a lamp too. Yeah, Tabaxi Bay points out that I could get a tattoo of a lamp instead of a moth. That would make sense. I know that that's not what you were actually suggesting, Tabaxi Bay. I'm just amusing myself. Anyone here into steampunk? That's a good question. I'm a hipster about steampunk. I was starting to enjoy the aesthetic of steampunk, and then it became popular. And then I was like, wow, this is dumb. And then also, I don't like steampunk shit that's just like... I don't like it when the gears are just like stuck onto stuff. You know, the gears are just like... hanging out there instead of like I want them to turn and move and ideally like accomplish something. If not accomplish something, then I do want them to at least move and be appropriately interlocking, because otherwise what the fuck is the point? Just gonna stick gears on stuff? That's really, really, really dumb. Oh geez, Mersh says the meaning of some of the butterfly and moth tattoos can be problematic. Sometimes you can be confused with members of certain clubs, etc. Are there gangs that use fucking moth and butterfly tattoos? Is that what you're telling me, Mersh? The mafia is now using butterfly tattoos to identify members, like a butterfly tattoo on their lower ass cheek. It should be called functional steampunk, I guess. The Liberty University Mafia. Yep. So, just talking about fashion now. That's what we're going to do today. Yeah. What's up, Alora? Hey, welcome in. Yes, I do have an editor now. It does free up some brain space for me. It mostly like makes me feel less bad about the fact that I have such a hard time forcing myself to edit. I don't like editing, and that's why I started streaming more instead of posting so many curated videos, because I have to edit those. I want to get a death's head moth tattoo, but I see so many people with one. True, yes. Adventure time tattoos. Ooh. Yeah, I definitely need to save up though and get tattoos. Maybe I'll start thinking about tattoos like for around my birthday, which is in late March next year, because I'm going to move in like December, and that's going to be like the first time that I am doing all my bills by myself, doing stream, running hard, trying to get that advertisement money. You know how it goes. Oh, I did never make a fucking... The Mafia? Oh my god, Voodoo Crack Dealer added on to the Mafia joke that I was making. The Mafia that puts the moth tattoos on them is called the Mafia. I literally can only edit if I'm 100% confident that what I'm making is going to be great. Not good, great. Ah, yes, you have the perfectionism problem. That's like me with my crochet. I have the perfectionism problem. I am very slow. All my stitches are very even, though. The work that I do is beautiful. But God, it takes forever, because I will undo entire sections just to be like, wow, it doesn't... Like, that part wasn't good enough. Gotta fix it. Avoiding run-ins with the entomologist street toughs. You should not get a monarch butterfly tattoo or a blue Morho butterfly tattoo if you live in Virginia, apparently. Because it's not just a gang, it's something more sinister. Is it the goddamn Masons? Is it the Freemasons? Mersh, come on now. Gosh, okay. How much longer do we want to do vibes before we get into the news, huh? I appreciate how many folks are hanging out just to enjoy the run-up, the lead-up into the actual stream. If you have not yet hit like on the YouTube page, I would appreciate that, because we are going to start talking about the news, probably here in a few minutes. I somehow missed this entire discourse when I lived in Virginia. Well, I'm kind of glad I know nothing about it. This is something that I am... it's a pretty recent development where I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I'll start reading something on the internet, and I'm like, I don't want to know anything about this, actually. I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to go away and scroll past it. If there's a joke that I read and I don't understand it, I'm like, I don't care. I used to really need to know everything and like read everything. Numpty with the $20 dono. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Kicking the stream off. Nice. Hell yes. And I need to make sure I'm in a tab where I can update this stuff. Oh, shit. I'll log back into Streamlabs. Come on now. Heyo. Very much appreciate that. Gonna make my life a little bit easier. Oh my god. I was like, I temporarily forgot how to do any amount of math in my brain. And there we go. The thing is updated. Thank you so much, Numpty. You are a winner. Absolutely. And get my tabs back to where they need to go. Cool. So I think we should probably start getting into this redonkulous discourse, right? Oh my god. I have so many things on the docket today. Not only do we have the... obviously, there's a lot of conversation about detransitioners on Twitter right now. If you're on Twitter, you will know. We'll get to it. For sure. That's my big item for today. Because I haven't really talked about detransitioners a lot on my channel. And I think the last time I talked about a detransitioner, I maybe didn't hit all the points that I would have needed to hit. Because I was talking about someone that was using the fact that they had bad surgical results to advocate against the surgeries. And in that video, I mostly focused on like the ways in which they as a patient may have not done enough research in order to make sure that they had the optimal results from their surgery, right? And people were like, oh my God, you have no empathy for this person. So I want to make broader statements about detransitioners in general when we talk about it today, okay? Then there was a Guardian article called, I thought my boyfriend was going to propose to me. I thought my boyfriend of 10 years was going to propose to me, but instead he came out as trans, which I think the whole thing misgenders the partner. Although I guess the partner signed off on it or whatever. So yeah, that's a subject. I haven't read the article yet, so we'll get into it. Jon Stewart and his delicious show. I would love to watch the entire show, but I think that Apple TV would take the stream down and I wouldn't be able to show anybody any of the rest of the commentary. So that would not be great. Just not being able to live stream anymore. But I do want to like talk about the interview. Maybe we can show snippets of the interview, talk about some of the angles that people are coming at this with, and yeah, just kind of discuss the effects that it may have going forward that Jon Stewart has made this kind of content. And then some stuff that's been on my docket for a few days that I keep putting off. Nazis/Proud Boys clash with Antifa at drag show bingo night of all fucking places. And then Florida is tracking girls' periods when they're engaged in sports in school now, I guess, as a method of confirming ongoing that they're cisgender. I am really not sure what the deal is there, if I'm being completely honest. But it's cringe, so that's what's on the docket for today. I'm planning on it being perhaps kind of a longer stream because of the fact that I don't know that I'm going to be streaming at all later this week. And I want to make sure that we get at least one good one, okay? At least one good one this week. So again, if you've not yet hit like on the stream, please do that for me. It directly helps the channel. There's always, like, if we get like 2 or 3 likes at the same time, like, oh my God, all of a sudden YouTube is showing the video to more people and we get more people come in. Literally every single time. So thank you for helping the channel. You're awesome. It's not just donations. It's also your participation here in the chat. It's also you watching the videos on the channel, subscribing to this channel and the VOD channel, which I'm terrible at keeping updated. Incentivize me to keep it updated. God. Okay. Just real quick, checking something out. Okay. I have to do a typing real quick before we get started. Okay, now there's that. I started a Fansly. Safe for work only. Okay. Peter Thiel is a billionaire who is contributing large amounts of money into PACs that back Christian nationalists, ban abortion, etc. He has an app that he would like to see for women to track their periods. He wants to make money off of banned abortions and no contraceptives. I've heard of Peter Thiel. I don't know a lot about him, frankly. Oh shit, to be frank, we only stopped lurking and watched live because you wouldn't update the VODs. I should just get someone else to manage that for me, frankly. I'm terrible about it. I don't even know why. I'm just bad about it. I just need to turn it into like a weekly task. I just need to do it once a week. So why don't I just write that down? Ah, where is my pens? I tried to clean my office, and you know, the thing is, when you clean your office, you don't know where anything is anymore. You lose it forever. Thank you, Shield Dayton. I appreciate that. That look is fire. Thank you. Move my fucking pens around. Rude. There. Okay, now I'm ready to start the news. Which one shall we start with? I would like to start with, where am I? Come on. Here's a link to the article about Peter Thiel. Okay, cool. I have that open now. Okay. I guess let's do the Guardian article first. Because this was pretty cringe. Yes. Okay. Notifications on my phone. Let's get a little bit of water before we start talking about the news, okay? Ooh. Okay. Hail hydrate. True. Hail hydrate. All right. So there has been so much going on Twitter right now, especially because for like, oh no, do you take off like a couple extra days in between stream because you have a part-time job right now? Like, yeah. Well, guess what? There's going to be like 800 million things to talk about when you get ready to start looking at what the news is like right now. So amongst all the other things that have happened over the past week, this article dropped on Saturday, October 8th, and it's called, I thought my boyfriend of 10 years was going to propose, and then he told me he was trans. So just right out the gate, I'm pretty sure that this article is the title and then throughout the article going to misgender the partner. So like it's by this person called Phoebe McDowell. Like just putting your actual name on this article, as far as I can tell, where you are working through your feelings about your partner coming out in public. Obviously, this is very difficult to deal with. I will reserve comment for now about whether I think that this is an appropriate venue upon which to do this, because we have to actually read the article, right? We have to actually figure out what was said and, you know, not just assume based on what we hear on Twitter, right? That's a goal. So I consider myself an LGBTQ ally, but I wasn't prepared for the shock and confusion I'd feel when the person I thought I'd spend my life with told me their secret. This is the young lady. Oh wow, that's a terrible quote under the picture here. It says, watching those closest to me celebrate the erosion of the person I loved was crushing. Ooh, strap in, lads. It's gonna be a long night. It was 3 a.m. and I'd had a lot to drink. 2 reasons why I was pressing my boyfriend of 10 years on why he hadn't yet proposed. Yeah, it's gonna just misgender this person the whole time. Here we go. We were strong and happy, loved each other madly, so his reticence seemed ludicrous to me when sober, let alone drunk. I suspect it was my ceaseless questioning that ultimately blew a fuse in his brain, because that's when he told me his secret. Wow. Drama. Yeah, erosion, there had to have been a better word. Yeah. Oh, God. When I woke up, he was gone. I watched his WhatsApp status like it was the heart monitor of an ailing relative. The second I saw online, I called and asked him to come home to talk, to answer the questions that I'd scribbled illegibly on a half-folded piece of A4 paper. This is going to be narrativized, I guess, for a bit here. Maybe the entire thing? Wow, do we want to read the whole thing in a dramatized manner? We're going to start skimming at some point. We're going to have to start skimming at some point along here. Boyfriend came back, face masked with fear. What were you trying to tell me? I asked, hopefully, all too aware of how different things can look when alcohol is no longer shaping your every thought. I have gender identity issues, he blurted, eyes fixed on the floor. That seems really clunky. Like, I don't want to say that this is a Poe right off the bat here, but that's a weird way to phrase it, and I don't know that any real, actual human being with, quote, gender identity issues, I don't think any person who actually suffers from gender identity issues would put it that way. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Is that strange to anyone else, or is that just me? Okay, let's move on. I just don't identify with being male. That I could hear that being more understandable. My throat thickened. You got yoked all of a sudden? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'm not trying to make fun. I should stop trying to be funny. I knew this person better than anyone in the world, but could in no way reconcile him with the words coming out of his mouth. She panicked. She panicked. Oh my God. What do you identify with? Pleading. I don't know, like non-binary or trans. The word flooded my body with a surreal disbelief. Why? I don't know. Anyway, oh wow. And then she gets really fucking rude all of a sudden, apparently. She says, I was already sure. Cold and emphatic. This was done. We were done. But why? Asked the partner. Because I don't want to be with a woman. It was surprising to me how obvious this fact was because everything else was suddenly underwater. I mean, yes, you can feel that way. I feel like you should be kind about delivering that news because it is a vulnerable moment for your partner to tell them. It's not like the partner is not aware that, like, you pressured them into talking to you about something while they were drunk. It's not like your partner is not aware that you might break up with them because of the fact that they are trans. Like, listen. I came out. I mean, like, I was out. Like, I knew that there was gender weirdness when my partner and I started dating. I did not know that I was going to want to medically transition in any way. And we had to work through that, you know? I would be... Like, I already am freaked out about the idea of being dumped explicitly for a cisgender person. But, like, if it had actually happened to me, that I was dumped because I came out as trans and, like, realized I needed to medically transition, that would have fucked me up. Like, more so than I am already fucked up about the idea of potentially being dumped for a cis person. It's a very specific anxiety. Anyway, so I understand that feeling, but yeah, you should try to be empathetic in this moment. Partner says, I don't know how far it will go yet. I don't know anything yet, except that our relationship is more important than my gender. Oh, no. Girl, no. Girl. No. Honey. No. Girl. No. God. Trying to figure out where we're going from here. The curtains closed at every turn in my mind. Soon, my sister was outside. I tried to articulate to her why I had asked her to come collect me and why I had a suitcase. She knew that something was wrong. She's struggling to communicate with her sibling and then says he thinks he might be trans. We stood on the dark street, cobbles glossed with rain, and wept. Her tears soaked my shoulder and mine hers. We drove back to hers. I sat in silence, numb, watching the rain blur the brake lights in front of me while she continued to sob. For me, for him, and I guess for the future brother-in-law she'd just lost. People just have absolutely no concept of what it's like to live miserable as a trans person. Hit like on the video if you know what it's like to worry about losing your family and in the process of coming out as trans and realizing that, you know, that is a legit fear to have. You are going to lose people, realistically, unless your entire family is really fucking cool. So then she stays over with her sister for a week. She's not sleeping. Got a new therapist, a large woman with a kind face whose accent I couldn't decipher. She talks about, I guess, her boyfriend having female traits, like so sympathetic when he was on my period. He would practically sprint to the shop to buy me ibuprofen or tampons. Is that because he wished he was having periods? And then, oh, that's nice. I guess her therapist is a smart person. If he was jealous of you, it would have manifested in anger, not kindness. He was kind to you because he loved you and didn't like seeing you in pain. I realize now that I was focusing on the trivial in order to avoid the stark truth, that the person around whom my world revolved was disappearing, and I was just stuck here waiting for them to go. God, the person that you love does not, like, didn't exist in the first place. Like, that was a person that they were trying to pretend to be, you know? And it wasn't working very well. And now they're trying to trust you with who they really are. And you are basically, like, freaking out and rejecting them and making it about you and your feelings. And while I understand that you have complicated feelings, it's kind of inappropriate at this time to be like, how could you do this to me? Like, do you realize how... It's like when you feel suicidal. You're like, I know that if I go through this, even though my pain is so great that I really would rather be dead, like, that people are going to say that I was selfish. Like, how, like, because obviously this decision is going to affect other people, but I shouldn't have to think about that while I'm in the middle of dealing with problems that are so overwhelming that it's making me suicidal. You know what I mean? Yeah, Nuvenal points out, you're not losing a future son-in-law. If your daughter comes out as lesbian, that future son-in-law never existed. That's not a perfect analogy, but it's pretty close. I just see it as a real person emerging. Yeah, I agree. So let's keep looking at this a little bit. All at once, gender was all around me, screaming in my face. Forms asking me about my sex. How many times had he dared himself to tick something other than male? Wow, you are a crazy person. Like, listen, again, I want to be sympathetic to the situation that she's going through. But, like, I am also going to point out when, like, again, it's like you're airing all of this very publicly. Like, you're really airing out some very personal and, like, potentially problematic stuff. Like, you know, the obsessive way that this person is responding, like, every time I had to fill out a form asking if I was male, female, or something else, I thought, oh, how many times had he dared himself to tick something other than male? Like, I don't, like, maybe it's just that the tone is not coming across right, but this is really weird. Oh, every time I used a public loo, I wondered if he wanted to use the women's. I wonder if this is going to swing into TERF territory. I wonder if it's going to swing out. This trans widow horse shit drives me nuts. Go fuck yourself, article writer. Yeah, Phoebe. No, I'm kidding. Okay, let's see. You're being obsessive about it. Oh no. I surveyed women everywhere as if every fifth person might be trans. It's like she's, like, looking for the trans in public now. I really almost dropped the slur and I decided not to. Is this lady British? I think she is British. She said the loo. There's been a couple other phrasings that made it seem like she is also, yeah, she is also from the UK. It says up here on the political stage, the UK government being rightly condemned for failing to ban conversion therapy. So probably. Packing up my stuff, we vacillated between sorrow that our relationship was over and hope that we'd never let each other go. Not platonically, anyway. When I stayed over, we clambered into bed early, head to head, our legs entangled, his skin warming mine. Couldn't read his mood. His angular face seemed soft, the ridge of his brow less pronounced, his skin free from stubble. In the morning, there came a point where we both knew that we were going to kiss, and then we had sex. Okay, so are they staying together? I thought you'd still love me, but I didn't think you'd be able to see me like that again. In the sexual way, I guess. But she's still thinking of him as male. Or her... I'm misgendering her partner just as much as she is, because the fucking article is written that way and I don't want to have to autocorrect every time while I'm just trying to read it out loud. Let's see. Her partner says, it's like anytime you're putting barriers up in your own life, you're just limiting yourself. Oh, wait, hold on, wait. Oh, wait, there's this Harry Styles. Harry Styles said this. There's so much joy to be had in playing with clothes. Okay, androgynous dressing. Suddenly... oh god, by the time I'd mentally reduced the situation to an ideal of androgynous dressing, forsaking our bond suddenly seemed like madness. This is 2022. Love is love. And if Harry Styles says it's okay, then it's O-fucking-K. I didn't fall in love with a trans woman. I fell in love with a person who happens to feel like their body is a burden, who just wants to be a little more femme. Oh no. Hormones. He mentioned hormones with an earth-shattering nonchalance, saying he'd wait a year to see how he felt about the superficial stuff like clothes, and then make a decision about hormones. Oh no. I read that an estrogen can make a man infertile in as little as 6 months. 6 months. 6 months. Can you believe it? Completely infertile after 6 months. No specification about what the dose is or anything like that. Like what dose? Could you be on like a teeny tiny dose of estrogen and lose your testicles in 6 months? They'll just fall right off. Completely infertile. The testicles, they just fall right off. Like when fruit is ripe and the tree's like... Jesus. Oh God. I had desperately wanted his child, though the impulse was quickly supplanted by a surge of uninspired rage. What? If I can't have his baby, then no one should be able to. And so I silently willed him to start taking the hormones as soon as medical sign-off would allow, a biting form of closure. What the fuck? You should not be processing this in public, my girl. Phoebe, 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 Phoebe. You should not be processing this in public like this. This is weird. This is so deeply fucking weird, y'all. I ate some soy and my balls exploded. True story. True. Is she a TERF? Like, she said some weird shit, but I don't know if I can conclusively say whether she's a TERF. Phoebe, yeah, Phoebe sweetie, Phoebe honey. It's possible that her partner is still using he, him pronouns, but she should have specified if she didn't want to look like a jerk. But if that was a concern of hers, she wouldn't have published this. Amen. Shield Dayton. Amen. You may lose your testicles with my Heisenberg estrogen. Oh my God. Okay. Jesus. Man, this was confusing. Yeah, I bet. Handsome boy is gone, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And now I felt exposed. I was doing everything differently, sheepishly. Meanwhile, it felt like he was on a rocket ship to the moon. Try sitting at home with only antidepressants for company while your ex is at a dinner party with your best friends, extolling the virtues of full coverage foundation. Then try hearing that the male contingent put makeup on too, and not only that, but they skipped down to the nail salon with him the next day. Blue, he got blue nails, plus a set of new they-them pronouns. So is the boyfriend using they-them, or is the ex now using they-them pronouns? Yeah, estrogen sends you to the moon. It sends you straight to the moon. All trans people on estrogen are astronauts. Okay, I'm skipping down here a little bit. I was mad at those who professed to get it because they too had been through a breakup. I have dived into a swimming pool, but that does not make me Tom Daly. I knew it came from a good place, but please, no, it's absolutely not the same. I don't want it to deny anyone their own suffering, and I know that there's some commonality in the heartbreak and the loss, but not the shame, not the guilt or the incredulity. What is wrong with you, Phoebe? I reached out to a support group called Straight Partners Anonymous. Oh, we have a growing number of, quote, trans widows who will very much identify with your difficult situation and the issues it raises. Was not that keen on the new label. Okay, well, at least you have some awareness, Phoebe. I agreed to meet someone else in possession of it regardless. Then the reversing beep of regret, because as it happened, she and her partner had decided to stay together, and I felt ashamed all over again because I couldn't do that. I kept trying to understand. Well, that's good. Let's see. People would ask, were there any signs when she was talking about the situation? What are we looking at? I'm getting bored with this, and I'm like, is there, like, I want to know, is she a TERF? Okay, here we are. We're at the fucking conclusion now. 7 months on, I am proud of my ex for having the courage to utter the words and the conviction to follow them through, crop tops and all. There are many things they will never understand about my experience, but there are far more I will never understand about theirs. Okay. It was so hard to fucking figure out where you were going with this, lady. The image of them at the dinner party that night, high on the fumes of their authentic self, no longer sucks the breath from my lungs. And now I am confident that in the not-too-distant future we will sit at a table together and reminisce about our imperfect, profuse, and untamed love, and raise a glass to the fact that they've never been happier. Okay. So I guess in conclusion, they're friends and it's okay. Like, but the main processing part, like, it took a while to read this whole goddamn thing, okay? It would have been good if there was some indication earlier in the article that it was going to get better at some point, you know? Because it took her until the very end to be like, oh, by the way, like, we're friends and I'm proud of my ex and I'm using the correct pronoun now. So I heard that the ex signed off on this article. I heard that the ex was like, sure, yeah, I'll let you post this, and that's good. And that makes sense because of where it landed. I would still personally be bothered by the narrativization and like the pronouns, whatever. But you know, that title implies a very different tone will occur. Yeah, she did have some decency after all. But way to bury the lead. Way to bury the lead. Like, I thought my boyfriend of 10 years was going to propose, and then he told me he was trans. Really, it's like you bullied your boyfriend into disclosing something that he wasn't ready to talk about yet. Yeah. So, Jesus, I don't have a lot else to add about that. That was a lot. Oh, excuse me. My throat's being all weird. Delicious. I still don't like her personally. I guess, like, I clearly have no frame of reference for what it is like to have your partner come out as trans and you're straight, you know? If my partner were to come out as trans, had come out as trans at some previous time, I would have been like, cool, how can I support you through that? And there would have been no question for me, because then I would have been like, oh, okay, great. So, like, I have a trans woman partner now. That's cool. Or, like, a non-binary partner. Who cares? Like, which way? Great. We will have more in common now. We will have more to talk about, because I happen to know a shit ton of trans feminine people. So I would have all of the information and the answers, or at least people to point my partner to, you know? Like, I would be, like, enthused about that. So I cannot relate at all to people who are like, no, I don't want to be with you anymore because you're trans. Like, I don't get that at all. But that's just me. Let's see. Have you drank water this stream? By the way, thank you all for hanging out. We have 65 concurrent viewers. That is a baller stream for me, TBH. So if you're in here and you've not yet hit like on the YouTube video, go ahead and do that for me, please, really quick. And then if you're on the YouTube chat, this website chat that we have over here, this is not Twitch, y'all. This is my website. Top link in the description. Come to the website chat, okay? That's where you want to be. That's where the cool kids hang out. So make sure to hit like, join us on the website chat. Orchid in the YouTube chat says, I'm sure TERFs would love to talk to her, if you know what I mean. I hope that she's immune. I hope that she's immune, because she did seem like she was like, I'm proud. I'm not like I'm not anti-trans. I just personally felt like I lost something. And she lost a relationship because of her aggressive heterosexuality, I guess. Oh well, you know, it happens. Ooh, 69 concurrent viewers. 52 likes. Can we pump up those numbers? Come on. We got to be able to pump up those numbers a little bit. Nice. Nice. Yep. Okay. So we got that one off the table. Thought my boyfriend is going to propose, but yada, 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 yada. Okay? Excellent. Party time. Excellent. Whatever. what do we want to talk about next, y'all? I'm like prepared to just fucking bump out news articles today. Like just do segment after segment today. Because like I don't really have a lot fun to talk about at the moment. Again, I'm going to be moving soon. So if you want to help out with that, there's a GoFundMe if you type !move in the chat. Or I'll just post it over here on the YouTube chat. Talk about whatever you like. Well, you know, some things are better for the audience than others, you know? We like chilling out sometimes, but sometimes we got to do news. Beck, I saw that you posted Gerard Way, and then you deleted your message. Why are you talking about Gerard Way? I used to be a big fan of, I mean, I don't like dislike him now, but I just used to be a really huge fan of Gerard Way and MCR. Anyway, when I was a young warthog, I really liked MCR. Oh my god. Let's just get some of this other shit off my fucking docket. Mods asleep, post Gerard. How dare, don't post Gerard. Definitely don't post Gerard in the Discord server. Whatever you do, don't post it on the Discord server. Okay, we're gonna talk about Florida for a minute. Are we ready to talk about Florida fucking again? I shouldn't open this segment that way. You're not supposed to curse in the first 30 seconds of the YouTube video, okay? Don't do that. You're learning the tricks of the trade now, y'all. Did you know that Gerard uses he/they pronouns? I didn't know that, but I'm not entirely surprised because I feel like Gerard has said things about like identifying with femininity and stuff before. So I think that's cool. Neat. Oh god, not my home state. Orchid, are you from Florida? Is it your fault? How dare you? How could you do this to us? Okay, anyway. So Florida is a terrible place, and we talk about it on stream pretty often. If you're not someone who's already subscribed to the channel and has the notifications on, you might not know that we stream or when we stream. I do have a consistent schedule, but it's about to change, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. Just notifications, turn them on, okay? Florida, we keep having to talk about it because they keep passing ridiculous laws, or at least trying to pass ridiculous laws. You know, there was the Don't Say Gay bill a couple months ago, and, you know, we went over that pretty in depth, and we were like, what does this actually mean? That is something that I really appreciate doing, and it just they keep coming and they won't stop coming, Florida. All right, let's look at this newest travesty. Florida passed a law to ban transgender athletes. They are now enforcing it by requiring female athletes to track their menstrual cycles and report it to the school and a third-party company called Activate. Alejandra adds, this is downright dystopian. Florida asks student athletes about their periods and why some find it shocking post-Roe. Here, let's look at this. Load, please. Okay, here we go. Seizures, fainting spells, allergies. Florida student athletes have to report medical conditions, but all female athletes in the state are also asked to report their history of menstrual periods, when they got their first one, how many weeks passed between. Wow, what? That's so much info. When they had their last one, to name a few. Information is reported on athletes' annual physical form, which they are required to fill out with a physician and turn into their school's athletic director. You have to know, like, your last year of period. You have to know your last year of periods in order, like, what? Why do some find... Yeah, good question. Anyway, so the questions have been put to students across the state for 2 decades, most often on a written form on paper. But this fall, when some districts took the form to a digital platform kept by a third party, parents and doctors began raising red flags. What benefit is the third-party platform giving you? Why would you share that info? Is that not... Is this like a HIPAA exemption that they can ask something that invasive and like require that info in order to let you do sports? That seems like so fucked up. Their concerns have been heightened both by a shifting political landscape, criminalizing abortions, and scrutinizing trans athletes, and the growing threat to medical privacy in the digital age. All of the forms, whether they are paper or digital, are subject to subpoena. Is that abnormal as far as medical records are concerned? I don't actually know. Yeah, this could be used as a way of restricting abortion access as well, or like keeping track of who might have had one. Like, oh, why did you have like 3 months between your period this time when you usually have like 1 month between your period? That seems kind of inappropriate for the state to be asking you about, TBH. But I'm just somebody who believes in small government. Some people do not have periods, says person. I think anybody who can't have periods is probably going to be disqualified and on the basis of not being female enough. That would be my guess, if I'm being completely honest. A pediatric endocrinologist said, "It sure as hell will give me pause to fill it out with my kid." I think that parents should just pull their kids out of, here's the form. First menstrual period, most recent period, how much time usually from the start of one period to the start of another, how many periods in the last year, what was the longest time between periods in the last year. If you had PCOS, you would be screwed. Yeah, amen. If you had any irregular period type shit going on, like, you're going to be under additional scrutiny. So the athlete's reproductive data is being stored by the third party. The software company launched in September 2021. This is not even a company that is like old enough to have a good reputation yet. Wow, that's really shit. Both sides of the political spectrum are troubled by the questions involving menstruation. Abortion rights advocates who stress reproductive privacy in the wake of the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade worry that women's menstrual history may be used to prosecute them if they terminate a pregnancy. Yes, very, very real concern. A vocal contingent of parents want forms to stay offline in the name of their parental rights over their children's data, which they worry about being leaked or sold. I mean, I think that that's a very realistic concern to have. Women rethink period tracking apps, reproductive privacy in a post-Roe world. I still track mine on an app called Clue, because Clue is, I believe, based in Germany, and they have very different privacy rights in Germany. So I don't think that your information can be so easily seized if you have that information on a more secure app. Frankly, I'm expecting my periods to stop after the IUD. I'm hoping anyway. Right now, it's kind of more like ongoing for like 2 weeks, but only a little bit, but still ongoing for like several weeks. Anyway, great. TMI. Female reproductive health is stupid. So yeah, there's abortion concerns about this. Burgess and her daughter were charged with a felony for removing, concealing, or abandoning a body after this type of information was used to prosecute someone who had an abortion right after, I think, the 20-week gestation thing in Nebraska. So that can be done. Violating privacy policies in the European Union and in the U.S. that require notice, choice, and protection of personal data transferred to third parties. Yeah. So apparently the White House is also in discussions about this. There's been a lot of discussion, even at the level of the White House, about how individuals' menstrual history should not be widely shared because it could be used to target them in the case of state regulations on abortion. Yeah. Easy. Information on Activate. Okay. Developer of end-to-end software intended to bring all aspects of kids' athletics from scheduling to injury reporting into one place. Interesting. I don't know why you would do an app like that, or why you would trust an app like that for any information about children and where they're going to be. Like, listen, an app that stores the data relevant to the scheduling of children's athletics. The scheduling of children's athletics. Just think about that. That's like, it's like if you hacked that app, you would have access to the potential location of like hundreds or thousands of children. Like, This is just a... It's just a map for predators. I wanted to say that in a much funnier way, but I don't want to get caught out by YouTube. This is like, it would be easy to hack this information out and be like, yes, like, like the sicko out the window, like a map, exactly. Like, yeah, I just think that this could be abused really easily. As a matter of fact, I think it could be abused very easily in a number of ways. So yeah, abortion is illegal in Florida after the 15 weeks. An athlete's menstrual history may be important for doctors to know. If you're having infrequent periods, say less than 1 every 3 months or fewer than 9 periods in a 12-month interval, you're at higher risk for weaker bones because estrogen helps build bone density. Less frequent menstruation could identify that you're not getting enough energy. I don't know why you would require it for school athletics, though. Like, yes, I agree. If you're not having enough periods, like, that could potentially be harmful for some reason. Like, I don't know, actually, if that's the case, but I could potentially see that being the case. I don't know, dude. Like, is your estrogen really that low when you go a few months without having a period? Personally, it doesn't feel that way to me. Like, it doesn't feel like it's particularly low. I don't know. Female athlete triad disorders, I guess, is another thing. Could indicate abnormalities in the uterus or uterine lining, unbalanced hormone levels, or a bleeding disorder. Both physicians agreed that an athlete's menstrual history should be kept between the patient and their doctor and not reported to the school district. I don't think it was our intent for this information to be shared with anyone else. The bottom line for the coach is, are they clear or not? The rest of that information is between the athlete and their family. Holler, who works with trans youth in his endocrinology practice, isn't so sure that this is anti-trans. As long as the form doesn't require the menstruation questions or the athlete to report their sex assigned at birth, it's unlikely to out trans athletes. As long as the form doesn't require the menstruation questions, but if they do require them, then it will necessarily out. You're just like assuming... My dude, holler. You absolutely cannot assume that it's going to be fucking voluntary to share your menstrual information. If they're couching it as, we're checking this information because we need to find out if there are any of you people trying to get into the sports teams, like, it's going to be required for anyone who wants to play on the female team. Obviously. Anyway. Yes, why do they have the questions in the first place is a good question. Is there anything else on the form? Health history, the final 5 questions are optional. Okay, they are optional for now. For female athletes only. Okay. As long as it's fucking optional, I guess. But if it's not, if in any case it becomes mandatory, I would really highly suggest that no parent fill out that part. Because the doctors do not need to know. Or like, sorry, not the doctors. Doctors need to know sometimes if you're having irregular periods. But school district does not. School district sure as hell does not. Well, that sucks. And I'm done reading about it now. Oh, geez Louise. Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg have invested in Activate. Jeez Louise. Do we want to do a kitty break? Because I can go get the cat for sure. I wasn't creaky voice. That's called subvocalization. It's called subvocalization. Yes, it's kitty. Seems like you need it more. Yeah. Let me go get the cat. Oh, you don't like it. Oh, gosh. Hello, NBJ. Welcome. Hello, Mitternacht. Are you good? We only have about, like, 7 more weeks of seeing Mitternacht on the stream. And then I'm gonna move into a new place to live. And no kitty. He's not coming with me. Are you staying here? Are you staying here, kitty? Are you friend? Yes, he is so good. It's hard to see him when I'm wearing black. Like, there's just not much visible kitty going on screen. Are you good? Oh, are you baby? Oh, he smushed his head against my head. Oh, what a kitty cat. Okay, goodbye, fatty. Wow, he really just, like, clapped the side of my head with his tail. Did you all hear that? It was so loud in my ear. Yeah, he's very wide. But I'm sorry, that is the mitter one is only for subscribers. So sad, so sad. Okay. We lost people during the kitty moment. How dare you people leave during my kitty cat moment? He is a huge kitty. I know, he's enormous. Whew. We still got some other news articles today. We're not done with the news, but it is good to take a breather sometimes in between the news subjects. Because there's a lot. There's so much. There's so much news all the time. All the time. I mean, that's not entirely true. Sometimes I'm like, wow, maybe there was like 2 days where nothing happened. Great. Incroyable. 2 whole days where nothing happened. Okay. Get rid of some of this shit on here. I really wish we could respond to the whole Jon Stewart show, because then I could rest my voice while we respond. But no. Goddamn Apple TV. I feel like there should be some kind of exceptions for, like, I mean, I think that technically me making political commentary, like, as a trans person responding to someone like Jon Stewart making content about trans people, like that's so thoroughly under the purview of fair use. Like, because I am giving my, like, professional expertise opinion on the conversation, and, like, I'm like passing my judgment on whether it's informative, like, whether it's quality content. I'm correcting things if they're wrong. Like, I certainly feel like that political commentators should be kind of an exception, or like a built-in good faith assumption of fair use for people whose job it is to like filter the lens through a particular political ideology, which is basically what I do. Like, essentially my job is to filter the news through my lens so that you see it from a certain perspective, you know? I think most people who share news and do political commentary, that's basically what it is. It's like, I am going to explain to you what this means through a certain purview, through a certain perspective. Again, incroyable. If you're here and you have not yet hit like on the stream, please consider hitting like, because it always helps out very directly. It's free. This show is entirely viewer supported, so all of my income basically comes from viewer support. I work for tips. You are appreciated. The comments and the sharing also helps, so thank you. All right. Let me refill my water, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Okay, I have water now. Okay. Make sure you're drinking water as well. Take care of yourself, my friends. That is important. All right. Do we want to talk about detransitioners now? Or do we want to wait? Do we want to save that one? Let's do this fucking Proud Boys thing really quick. And so again, so that I can just get it off my fucking stream notes. Commenting on an interview is just the same as restreaming the latest Marvel movie. Thank you, copyright daddies. Oh my god, true. Thank you so much, copyright daddies. Finn says, I got a new binder from Shapeshifters. Well worth the cost and wait. Trying to keep the bliss through my cycle. Yeah. Well, I hope that it's everything you imagine it to be. I am really excited to get new dishes and pots and pans and stuff. That's the thing that I'm most excited about with raising money to move into my own place, is that I'm gonna... I mean, I have literally no choice but to get my own dishes and stuff. I found the best bowls at Goodwill the other day. Spurious Broccoli says, this detransitioner has mixed thoughts on the detransitioner discourse. I will be interested to hear your thoughts. I kind of think it would be a good idea to talk about detransition with a detransitioner. No, Mersh, my new apartment is not furnished. My new apartment is going to be empty. I have most of the furniture that I need. Actually, like, I'm not gonna have a couch or anything, so I put a giant beanbag chair on my Amazon wish list. Giant beanbag chair on the Amazon wish list, if anybody wants to buy it for me. To put in my living room. Yeah, I forgot what I was in the middle of saying. We should do this fucking Proud Boys thing so that I can get it out of my brain. Radical right-wingers have been busy minding everyone else's business. True. True. Hey, Mitter. Are you still in here? Hi, baby. What are you doing? Okay, he's just gonna be weird and lurk. As you do when you're a weird little kitty cat. Okay, so... thank you all for chilling, by the way, with us tonight. Like, having 60 people in here, this is like a really solid stream for me. So, thank you. We're growing consistently, and I love that for us. I love that for us. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Proud Boys for a minute here, so that I can get this off my desk. But this is from a little while ago. God, this is not going to let me get away with not having ads, is it? Nope, I don't think it's going to. Is it worth it to turn the ads off so that I can read this article? I'm like, is this too much ads? Is it intrusive? Sometimes there are location-based Google ads. Have you all noticed that? I'm like, don't do that. Please? Like, Jesus Christ, that's very uncool. And the ads are going to update every once in a while on this page. Okay, so I'm not necessarily going to show this one, but I do want to talk about this briefly. Like, okay, it's that Nazis and Proud Boys clash with anti-fascists outside Texas church hosting drag queen bingo. So... is there a video on this? First Christian Church Katy is hosting a drag bingo fundraiser for benefiting the ministry's Transparent Closet, a free boutique in the largely conservative West Houston suburb. And then there's this other group called Protect Texas Kids, say that 10 times fast, led by North Texas self-described Christian fascist Kelly Neidert. That's what it says. It says self-described Christian fascist. And they're going to protest outside the church, according to a Facebook event. So that's great. God. Is there a video in here? On Saturday, there was a video clip posted from the scene. Ah, here we go. I need my headphones, maybe. Or do we want to listen to the sound on this one? Maybe we'll go ahead and listen to the sound on this one. Just say the part out loud. Yeah, true. We're saying the quiet part out loud. Thank you for the compliment on my makeup. Oh my god, I am appreciating everybody's lovely feedback. I'm not sure how I feel about this look in particular, but we're trying new things. We're experimenting, you know? And I am also going to consistently touch the makeup and fuck it up because I'm not used to wearing makeup. So that's on me. That's on me. All right. Anyway. Let me adjust the volumes and make sure everything's good. We're going to watch this little video over here. Proud Boys and Kelly Neidhart's Protect Texas Kids are in Katy, Texas, protesting a drag bingo fundraiser at First Christian Church. Proud Boys and Houston anti-fascists just clashed. Heavy police presence dividing the two groups now. So, wow. Can I turn this down, please? Thank you. Is there bagpipe music playing?
Get back! Get back! Get back! Get back! Out of the way! Out of the road! Let's go! I want you to listen to they were! Get all the way fucking over here!
Police are like, get the hell out of the road. Did they get tear gassed or something and that's why everyone's coughing? Like, did they get pepper sprayed?
Yeah, he's advised. They just released it. Looks like OC. Got a couple of our guys.
I wonder where this recording is from. I don't think this specifies where that recording actually... Like, was this amongst the Proud Boys? It kind of looks like it's from amongst the Proud Boys, TBH. Your hair looks great, too. Oh my god. Thank you so much, everybody. You're all so lovely. More Proud Boys and Patreon front members. That's what these folks are. Of course, they're not wearing masks, except for this... Well, a couple of weird guys. Suddenly, a couple of them care about wearing masks. It's weird how that works when you're doing things that are like borderline terroristic. Weird how that works. Make America great again. Oh my god. Wearing an American flag, you know, as you do. As you do. No worries. Houston's Nazis are here. LGBT is Talmud. Jew shit. 6 genders. LOL. Only 6 genders? Really? Or wait. No, yeah, that is referring to the Jewish teaching, I think. That they have, like, several subtypes of gender. Like, 6 of them, right? I don't see the beanbag on the list. Hold on. There should be a... Or, it's on this list. It should be. I'm taking a moment. Yeah, it's still on there. It's just lower down on the list. And it's also expensive. But yeah, I think that is a reference to the... I don't know the specifics of the Jewish genders, but I've heard that there are several of them. So that's interesting. And... forming a line between the groups, we have the police folks... doing something useful, I guess. A group of Nazis appear to be leaving the protest, sporting for the first time today a flag with a swastika. Here we have a flag with a swastika, y'all. Don't need the sound on for that. Look at it. If the protest that you're on the side of is, like, has people... Look at the skull. The skull is another Nazi symbol. Don't just focus on the swastika. Look at the skull with the bone in its mouth or whatever. That is another Nazi symbol. So yeah, bro, like there is for sure, if you're on the same side as the people who are waving around Nazi shit, like maybe rethink your perspective, like maybe rethink what side of the argument you're on, man. Like it's straight up not good. But the main reason why I wanted to talk about this, you know, aside from the fact that, like, we have Nazis just openly being Nazis in America, and that's pretty fucked up, is this is going to tonally shift somewhat, okay? I don't know how to prepare you for this. There's no way for me to prepare you for this if you have not already seen it, okay? Are we the baddies? True. Okay. There's no way for me to prepare you for this. Some of the signs from the protest... The Proud Boys protested outside a drag queen bingo. This girl's sign, absolutely taking me out. Just says, stop being gay. and recriminalize gay marriage, says this Muslim woman's sign. Both of those things are ridiculous, but straight up, just stop being gay. Just stop. Just don't. Easy. So easy. Just don't. Yeah, stop being gay. Heart, love heart. You're doing so good, honey. You're doing so good, Gorge. Stop it. You stop it. How about stop being a fucking idiot? Try that one on for size. I don't know. Good grief. Even 30 years ago, someone would have hurt the Nazis and law enforcement would have looked the other way. Now the GOP and Christians support them. True. I wouldn't stop being gay if they paid me. How much are they going to pay me? Maybe. It depends on how high how high is the dollar sign? Well, bisexual, but still. Basic Becky's. Yeah, like, wow is all I have to say about that. Jeez Louise. Spurious says, legit, I'm so glad I live in Boston where guns are harder to come by because I'm going to a drag show in a few weeks. Yeah, people like have guns around where I live, but you know, if you look at like maps of where like a lot of mass shootings happen, this is not one of the places where it does happen very much. So like to an extent, I kind of feel like I'm safer than I would be in some other places. Like if I lived on the coast, I would be a lot less safe, right? Ugh. It's been so hot and dry and dusty at the Renaissance Festival that, like, you come home and, A, your sinuses are dry, like, super duper dry, but also your boogers are just fucking brown from all the dust that you've been breathing in all day. It's great. And sometimes it takes a few days to get it all out of there. Ugh, truly wonderful. Totally. Is that total mass shootings or mass shootings per capita though? I think it's total mass shootings. Like, I think if you just look at a map of mass shootings in the last 50 years or whatever, that there just aren't very many that have been recorded, period, near where I live. Hey, that's fair enough, Mersh. I think the reason that the queer people are fairly safe where I am in Virginia is that the Nazis know that they are likely to have guns as well. That's one reason to get armed, for sure. I'm still feeling unsure about whether I want to get a gun. Because, like, I did recently have a little spoop of, like, oh, I am kind of feeling suicidal right now. And that's the reason why I don't want a gun. Because I don't want to be like, oh, here's, like, the one day that I'm feeling suicidal. Well, guess what? Like, I have a gun, you know? If I like only have a gun at home and I keep I don't have any ammunition, like, oh, you only get the ammunition at the gun range. Like, well, that's not really doing much to protect me then, you know, is it? It's a struggle. It's a struggle to figure out what to do when you have that particular intersection of issues. But oh well. If you are just coming in to the stream, please hit like on the YouTube video and then consider joining the website chat because we have a good time over here. I don't dual stream on Twitch. This chat is not Twitch. This is my website, luxander.net. Join us. I am, I think, just about ready to switch gears into the next topic, whatever that's going to be. We only have the 2 topics left, actually. So maybe the stream isn't going to be a particularly long stream tonight. Yeah, Spurious Broccoli says, my brother died by suicide with a gun. I hate that whole just armed trans people argument because all that will cause is more suicides. Yeah, like if you look at the statistics, if you're being realistic with yourself and you're looking at the statistics, what is like one of the leading ways that guns cause death? Like suicide is a very high percentage of the ways in which people die by gun. You know what I mean? So are you increasing your likelihood of being safe by getting a gun? Or are you simply increasing your likelihood to end up hurting yourself in some form or fashion, you know? So take care of yourselves, you know? Be aware of those risk assessments and all that. I like guns, but they aren't for everyone. Yeah, I don't find guns fun. Like, guns are not fun to me. And I think part of that is because my mom wouldn't let us play with even Nerf guns. Like, my brother and I were not allowed to have Nerf guns. Or any other toy weapons, really. But, like, realistically, like, I had this same issue when I was learning how to drive. Where I was learning how to drive, and I couldn't stop thinking about the fact that I'm in a vehicle that weighs, like, several thousand pounds, and we are hurtling through the air at speeds that human bodies were not designed to go. Like, if you stop suddenly at a speed that's higher than humans are meant to go, like, you will just turn into mush, right? And I just had a really hard time not thinking about that when I was learning how to drive. So with guns, I have a familiarity with driving very much. I'm very comfortable with it. I don't think about that anymore. I don't think about the whole... I mean, I do to an extent, but not like in a way that impedes my ability to drive or like makes me anxious. I'm aware that I'm hurtling down the road and I'm going to act appropriately and be safe. With the gun, like, I don't interact with them often enough to not be thinking the entire time about the fact that there is an explosion happening in my hand and the gun could break apart and like shoot backwards at me, like, in rare cases, obviously. Like, that's the risk with 3D printed gun parts. But yeah, I think it's important to remember those kind of things, though. Like, you'll drive safer if you're thinking about the fact that you could very easily die performing that activity, right? You could very easily kill someone or hurt yourself with a gun. And you should be treating that with that level of caution and respect, in my opinion. Oh my god, 72 viewers. Like, this, sometimes I don't know what is making the stream so bumpin', but thank you for being here. I really appreciate that. If you have not yet hit like, please consider doing that. Also, consider dropping your boy a dono. I really need to make my donation goals because this is my income and I'm moving soon. Thank you so much. If you want to help me move out of living with my partner, whom I have lived with for the past 12 years, help me afford a bed, please and thank you, because I don't have one of my own of those, and I need one. I have an air mattress. If I'm probably going to use that at first when I move into my new place. I'm just going to use the air mattress at first. But yeah, consider donating or sharing the GoFundMe. That would be great too. ! Move in the chat for the GoFundMe link. All right. I think I am going to, I think that we'll just go ahead and move into... I'll save Jon Stewart for last in case Apple TV trips me up when we try to watch some of the video. For those who want to learn but aren't ready to keep one in their home, Mars in the YouTube chat says, most ranges will rent you a firearm. Obviously only do that on a good mental health day. That's cool. So you could like go to the range and just rent a firearm from the range and learn and practice. Because that's another thing. I think you should learn how to appropriately use a gun. Like be taught by someone how to use it safely, correctly, all that. And all that jazz. Instead of a gun, carry a claymore. More visible, less useful for self-harm, more useful for Highlander fights. Y'all, oh my god. So, this is going to be a little bit of a tangent, and I'm going to lose some of you. I'm sorry. At the Renaissance Festival that we go to right now, we go every year. I met my partner there 14 years ago. It's a very cute story. One of our friends out there is named Chris, and he is the one time he won the show called Forged in Fire, Forged in Flame. It's a blacksmith competition show, okay? And we go into their booth and like say hello to them, and look at their wares and stuff, and he makes the most beautiful real steel daggers and stuff. And he's got these like chunky ones that he makes. They're like, they're short, little chunky ones with, and the blade is like this, and then a pretty like steep taper down. I love them so much, but they're like $300, and I'm like, I can't do that right now. Like, I am in possession of that much money, and I need to have it for my security deposit because I'm hopefully going to sign a lease this week. You know, I'm like, I cannot justify that. I want one so badly, though. They're such cool dudes too, though. They're really kind people. But yeah, swords are pretty. Yeah, it's just a short little knife dagger thing. But yeah, holy shit, 75 concurrent viewers. Hey, Sparky Pete, no worries. If you're not able to donate right now, that is no worries at all. Take care of yourselves first, you know? I'm gonna probably do fine, you know? You started talking about swords and everyone showed up. It's true. I also have, like, friends who have a channel called Sellsword Arts, and they are, like, they do like choreography and shit, and like have a really funny show at the Renaissance Festival called The History of Violence. Oh my god, they're incredible. And they do like actual, like, my friend has a bunch of actual swords. It's pretty great. Okay, let's talk about detransitioners. All right, do we want to finally get around to this? So I haven't actually watched this video yet. There is this video that's been going around of this person who like seems like they're a trans man, maybe. Their bio doesn't have any pronouns in it. Like, the bio doesn't have pronouns. Says, just another disillusioned 20-something trying to find reason and moderation in a crazy world. A confused human open to civil discussion. Joined October 2022. I know we talked about this already recently on stream, but I want to bring it to your attention again, because I don't know if that segment is going up on the channel for real. Exercising some skepticism on the internet about where your information comes from includes looking at things like this. Like, why did this person just join Twitter in October 2022? Like, this person's account has to be less than 2 weeks old. Do you see this? Like, the account has to be less than 2 weeks old because it was made this month, this year. I'm not saying that they didn't exist before then, but, you know, it's something to be aware of. It's something to be aware of, right? No pronouns in bio. How will they learn? Yeah, so let's go back to this. This is a video that's been going around, and a lot of people have been talking about it. And I'm sure we're going to go through the quote tweets as well here in a second. I'm making this video because I haven't really talked about detransitioners very often. Some people would accuse me of being a detransitioner because I'm not currently on hormones, but I don't really know how you could reasonably say that because I'm so obviously loudly trans. Anyway, but I haven't talked about detransitioners very much, and I will say I have a lot of sympathy for the difficult process involved with discovering your gender identity, whatever that is. I think it's perfectly fine for people who are cis to explore their gender, maybe even try out some aspects of transition and find out that it's not actually for them, and go ahead and, like, you know, reverse some of the effects or detransition socially or whatever, you know? Massive respect. I have camaraderie with those people, in fact. Like, it's difficult. It's for sure difficult to figure out your gender shit. What I don't have is sympathy for detransitioners who use their negative experience to say that no one should have access to those things that they had access to, or that people should have more restrictions on that access. Because basically, anytime you ask trans people how they feel about the currently existing limitations to care, most of us feel like we want there to be fewer barriers. So why would you listen to detrans people talk about how they want things to be less available, but ignore all the trans people who are saying, you know, I had a really difficult time waiting for access to this care, or I had to spend a lot of money getting all of the psychiatrist letters that I needed in order to get this care, you know? So that's something to consider. And yeah, so I haven't watched this video at all, and I want to watch it live with you now. So let's get the volumes right and watch this little video.
Hey y'all, so I got out of my haircut, because my hair was driving me nuts, and I shaved it because I'm tired of watching my hair thin out, and it's less distressing if I shave it. So when I talk about being too far gone, I don't really know what else to call it, this is what I mean. This is how deep my voice is. It's gotten deeper over time, and it's settled. This is what I mean by hair loss. And it just keeps getting worse. It keeps thinning. It keeps receding backwards. You know, and I'm not exactly sure that's coming back. Those are the main things when I talk about being androgenized to a point of no return. I really don't see those being fixable. So that's when I talk about, you know, just kind of staying how I am, regardless of how I feel. That's why, just because I don't really see me personally being able to come back from what's happened so far. So I hope that's a little explanatory, just to kind of give a little bit more of a, like, kind of let me reword that, just to kind of, you know, talk about, like, give more awareness to the situation, kind of, so you can see where I'm at. Words are not working well with me right now. I'm just gonna cut this off. There you go. You know, this is what happens when you give a woman testosterone. This for 5 years. This is what happens, essentially. So, you know, that's it. Stay safe.
What a weird way to end that video, with stay safe. So I'm getting the impression that this person is like, I identify as detrans, like I want to detransition and be a woman again, but at the age of 21, the testosterone androgenizing effects have been too great at this point, is essentially what they're saying. Again, I don't know pronouns because there's no pronouns in bio, so we're having to guess, and I'm just going to go with they. So I really sympathize on the losing your hair thing. Like, it's a big deal for a lot of people, like even men, like a lot of men. There is a huge industry for having your hair replaced, like having hair transplants done. You know, Elon Musk, let's see if I can find this. Elon Musk, balding. He was like 21 or whatever in this photo. He was like a young man in this photo, but look at him. He's thinned out about as much as that guy that we were just looking at. Like, just about as much. This guy maybe has a little bit less. This person maybe has a little bit less hair. Also, he doesn't ID as a detransitioner. So I guess this person is like, I want to detransition, but I am not going to, like, because I think I'm too far gone. Like, we gotta check the quote tweets, okay? Because there are 9,000 quote tweets, and the thing is that, like, it's obvious that testosterone is going to masculinize you, okay? They tell you this at various stages of the process, and frankly, if you are involved at all in the trans community online, you are also going to know that baldness is an issue. And, like, did no one tell this person about finasteride? Like, you can just take a pill that makes your body stop responding to the type of hormone that makes your hair fall out. Basically, it blocks the receptacles in your hair follicles for that hormone that makes your hair fall out. So, and there's minoxidil that you can apply topically to make the hair grow back once you've stopped it, like, thinning. You know, finasteride is super cheap too. I haven't looked into it personally because it's not an issue for me, but my partner might try taking finasteride because his hairline is receding and his granddad is bald. So, like, if it can be avoided, that would be great. But, like, let me just say that right there. Like, cis men worry about losing their hair and going bald. Trans men worry about losing their hair and going bald. I know Jamie Raines, Jamie Dodger, who's on YouTube, has talked about this before. He's on finasteride because he's invested in having nice hair. Okay, yeah, I'm getting there, Baphomet. I'm walking my way up there. You might find it surprising to learn that one of the main groups of people who has like the most intense distress about going bald and losing their hair. Everybody has distress. I would grant that one group is more distressed by it than others, and that is going to be trans women, or I guess cis women too. Cis women balding is pretty upsetting for them, you know, because I think even more than men, women have to worry about their appearance, and your hair is a huge part of your appearance, and you know, you lose some options when you go bald. A lot of people say that their partner is no longer attractive after they are bald, you know, like it's an issue, right? So the trans women have been responding to this going like, I empathize with this, you know, it's not fun to have, you know, testosterone hurt your body in this way, basically. Like, it sucks for anybody to feel like they're in a gender incongruence with their body, okay? You cannot, at age 21, be like, it's too far gone for me and I can't, like, go back. Like, obviously, if you've had top surgery, you can't, like, reverse that. You'll have to get implants or whatever, you know, there's that. But as far as the hair growth and the voice, honey, trans women do this and they pass all the time. All the time. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's cheap. Okay? If you started out assigned to female anyway, though, it's going to be easier for you to pass because your, like, fundamental bone structure is still more or less correct. My mother wore wigs. Yeah, anyone can go bald. My hairline was shit before I even started testosterone, so I understand the uncomfortable feeling with hair loss. So here's a little bit of a twist in the story. Just a little bit of a twist in the story. Are you ready? As I build anticipation for the twist, you should hit like on the video. Are you ready? So here's the twist. Casey Miller had already started going bald before starting testosterone because of polycystic ovarian syndrome, which increases your testosterone level in your body, basically. Like, it's a hormone problem. Yeah, this is a key piece of information. Like, this young person was going bald before starting hormones anyway. But also, if you have baldness that runs in your family, you should expect that to happen to you. Like, did you expect to look like an anime boy? Like, I'm sorry, but like sometimes when you go on testosterone, what ends up happening is that you just fucking look like your dad. Which can, like, that can be a problem for some people. They're like, my dad was my abuser and I am like on testosterone now and now I look like my abusive parent, you know? This person was already going bald. Like, if you have 2X chromosomes, you have to check both sides of your family to see whose baldness genes you're going to receive with that, you know? But like, did someone fail to tell this person about all the possible androgenizing effects? Like, did they not know that their baldness was probably going to get more intense? And if you were starting to go bald before transitioning, like, had you not sought out treatment? Did it just simply not occur to you to seek out treatment for that in conjunction with your other transition-related shit? My man thought T was going to turn him into Timothée Chalamet. Apparently, I don't have PCOS, but I have a higher natural testosterone than AFAB people, so I expect that I will have less hair in the future. I mean, yeah, fair enough, but you can, like, literally, there is medicine that's easily available. There is medicine that's so easily available. I don't know how fair I'm being, but that motherfucker just makes me irrationally angry. Frankly, like, he's like, they're like, I don't like the effects that it did to me and I wish I could go back, but I can't go back. Like, one of the main problems is that this person said something along the lines of like, I'm not going to make I'm not going to make women uncomfortable the way that trans women do. Like, part of this person's motivation, and I might not be able to find the tweet. I'm sorry. I'm going to look for it for a second so that I can prove to you that I'm not making shit up. But this person was saying, like, I'm not going to subject cis women to the experience of being around someone who looks kind of masculine in the bathroom and stuff. I'm trying to see if I can find it. I might not, but I might not be able to again. Maybe this person is not as shitty as we kind of expect these people to be. Because they say, this was my thought process. I'm not anti-trans. I am anti-unneeded medical intervention. If I had to do over, I wouldn't have transitioned. And I think a lot more people are like me than we realize. I mean, okay, so it kind of seems like they are anti-children having access to medical intervention on the basis of their experience being bad. But yeah, so like that's the thing about it is like, why are you choosing not to detransition? Why are you choosing to, I don't know, like, if it's because if you're like, I think I'm too far gone, like that's just dysphoria, honey. Like, I'm sorry, that's just dysphoria. That is exactly what most trans women experience. You know, this was something that I listen, okay? At one point, I kind of thought that I wanted a beard, right? I was like, damn, a beard would look really good on me. Man, that would be great. And then I'm kind of worried about trying minoxidil though, because what if I end up not wanting a beard? Like, what if I try it and then I'm like, I don't know if I actually want this beard, this facial hair anymore. And then I realized, like, oh, if I end up with facial hair that I don't want, then oh no, I have to do the same thing that almost every woman in my life has to do, which is, oh no, I have to get laser hair removal. Oh no. Like, big fucking whoop. It's not a big deal. Like, there are certain aspects of transition that you cannot take back, okay? Right? Obviously. Don't get your tits cut off if you're not 100% sure that you're okay with not being able to do the normal boob things later. Like, I don't know. Breastfeeding is going to be a lot more difficult, for example. What's up, Dizzy? But yeah, just goddamn stop, like, advocating against people having access to this care, you know? I'm so annoyed by that. Every single time, like, one of these people comes out and, like, I really like this other person who I would love to have on stream sometime. Support Detrans. Support Detrans is a detransitioner who identifies as NB, so not like a total detransitioner, but like someone who had top surgery as a teenager and is now 19 and regrets having had top surgery and wants to, and like kind of partially identifies with womanhood at this point, but doesn't think that children, like adolescents, shouldn't have access to care, you know? We just went over like the new WPATH guidelines. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot more of these accounts coming out, because the WPATH guidelines did specifically say you should, in fact, like lower some of the thresholds of accessible care for adolescents, meaning teenagers. So anyway, I really do wish that people like Casey Miller wouldn't be like, well, this is what happens, you know, when you put a woman on testosterone, like, wow, surprise, shock and surprise, going on testosterone androgenized your body, you know. I'm sorry that you're upset about it now. If you want to reverse some of those things, you totally can. You absolutely can. Most of it is reversible. As hopeless as it feels, I'm sorry that you feel gender dysphoric about not having hair. You are now comrades with trans women. And it sucks that they would be like, I'm not going to make I'm not going to make cis women uncomfortable because I look like a man and I don't want to go in the bathroom, you know? Anyway. People are chomping at the bit for me to talk about fucking Jon Stewart. Leslie in the YouTube chat is really ready for us to talk about Jon Stewart. That is my last thing on the docket for tonight. We've only been streaming for 2 hours. Holy shit. Woo. If you want to hit the like button, I would really appreciate that. I am so happy to have so many people over here keeping the chat lively, keeping things bumping, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing the content, babes. The voice change at first gave me mixed feelings when I started T, since I like to sing metal and hit high notes, but it just opened me up to a different range that I enjoy much more now. I have ended up retaining a lot of my upper range as I just keep singing, you know, like, so I can do, sometimes I can do Josh Turner, like, sing country songs, you know, would you go with me? And then sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna sing opera right now. Like, I am missing some of my high notes on the soprano, but I will still try to sing All I Ask of You from fucking Phantom of the Opera. There's only a couple notes in that song that I can't hit. No, Jon Stewart did not say something transphobic. Not this time. Children with gender dysphoria need to know what being non-binary is, that it is an option, that you don't need to go one way or the other, that you can pick the transition aspects that you want. Yes, I think Natalie Wynn made the perfect argument that, if anything, saying people must follow a specific transition guideline in order to be authentically trans, that means you're going to have people who do a lot of things that they regret, and you're going to have a lot of people who never do any of the things because they are afraid of regret. So, yeah, a lot of detransitioners suffer from systemic NB phobia. The fact that you can't be a gender mess, but the society tries to shove you into boxes, means that many people who'd be happy with a messier transition get encouraged to go all the way because the option to be non-binary isn't offered. I mean, I think that's why people were so mad at me so many years ago for saying that that you could try hormones and then quit if you wanted to, you know, that like, yeah, I mean, and you can still identify as trans. Like, I have been on hormones for 2 years and then off for 2 years and then on for 2 years and now I'm off again. At no point in that time have I detransitioned. Like, I just wasn't on hormones, you know? And that's fine. You can do that. It's not a big deal. You can try hormones for a month because you're curious about what it would be like and basically sustain little to no permanent effects and quit after a month, you know? Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Good night, people in the YouTube chat going off. You happen to bring up Phantom of the Opera as I do Phantom of the Opera art as I watch the stream. Delightful. That is delightful. All is lost. Hope you're having a good time doing art. Yeah, true, Dwoozle. You can also get top surgery with no testosterone. There are so many options. Like, you can mix and match everything as far as the transition aspects, you know? I talk about bottom surgery on stream pretty often. What's up, 83 people? I don't know if you're ever here when I talk about bottom surgery. It's an interest of mine. Do you want to know how to build a penis surgically? Because I know a lot about it. Subscribe if you want to sometimes catch streams where I just go off about penises for a while. And everything about that process is mix and match, you know? You can have a penis and no balls, for example. Whoa, what a concept. I disagree with the hormone thing. What do you mean, Leslie? Disagree with what hormone thing? I have a friend who got top surgery before starting T because he couldn't bind because his chest was too big. Yeah, for some people, it's just more of a priority to get one thing than another. I'm going to get bottom surgery, or likely going to get bottom surgery. I guess it's not like 100% a plan yet. But I don't want top surgery, you know? You can do that. Have you heard about the experimental penis transplants? I am aware conceptually of penis transplants, but I am personally less interested in that option than the currently available options because I don't want to have to take immune suppressing drugs my entire life as I deal with a transplanted organ. That you can take it if you want without the proper treatment. Ah, Leslie, You've made an assumption about what I just said. Where did I say that you could take hormones without proper treatment? I didn't say that. That's a separate conversation. I said you can try hormones to see how it makes you feel. Now, generally, it's going to be better to do that under the guidance of a doctor because you want to be able to check your hormone levels via blood tests, okay? That's a separate issue. Okay, but unironically, Vasha's take on this last night was based, make HRT over the counter. Truly, like, birth control should be over the counter. I think HRT might as well be over the counter. And then, like, just have it be like, I am going to regularly get blood tests, you know? I don't know. The testosterone thing is tough because testosterone is like a... controlled substance because of the sports, like, juicing thing. I don't know. Is that, like, what fucking reason actually is there for testosterone to be as controlled as it is? What type of notes and letters do you need for top surgery and bottom surgery? What's up, Ina? It depends. It depends on the surgeon. Currently, the WPATH guidelines have loosened up a little bit so that I think you only need one letter in order to get bottom surgery, according to the WPATH guidelines. But it sometimes can depend on your insurance company. Like if you're in America and you have private insurance, it can vary. Like the insurance might not be willing to cover something. Like they might not be willing to cover bottom surgery if you haven't yet had top surgery, for example. You know, like the insurance might have additional requirements beyond the WPATH, which is the World Professional Association of Transgender Health or something like that. Oh my God, excuse me. My insurance required 12 months of psychotherapy for top surgery without T. Like, I just think that that's so frustrating because that's like, you had to do fucking therapy for 12 months and that cost money. Did your insurance cover the therapy 100% because they fucking required it, you know? I doubt it. Freya asked, are you planning on doing more streams where you chat with viewers? We could. We definitely could. I don't necessarily enjoy those as much as the ones where I get to just talk over and over and over a lot. But if we have interest, I could see us doing that for sure. Do we want to do that? How does everybody feel about doing call-ins? Yeah, I this is such a chat heavy stream that I don't know if it's necessary to do call-ins. Unless you disagree with me for something, you know, that could be fun. I think Freya was specifically referring to having call-ins. Happy to prepare some topics to chat on. You do want the debate blood spilt. That's true. I generally think it would be more fun to talk about things that are disagreements. Like Jess, I think it was Jess at least, from Jess and Xena, formerly trans girl therapist. Jess was getting on my case because of my slur usage on Twitter. I was saying that I like being at the Renaissance Festival because there's so many T slurs and F slurs out there. And she was like, you're killing me. And I was like, debate topic? But not really. I don't actually want to debate her. I'd be interested in talking to someone about that subject. Of like, I'm not allowed to use slurs, you know? Got to chat with you once and it was fun, so that's why I wanted to ask. Well, that's cool, Freya. It's been such a long time. I don't remember many of those conversations very specifically, but I do remember being like, it just felt weird. It just felt weird. It was Jess and Xena, Baphomet. That's who I was talking about. Yeah, quote unquote debate topic. Yeah, I'm like, I just want to have a conversation. If someone thinks that like I shouldn't be using slurs, I'm like, well, but why? Because I just recently decided that was a lot of fun. And I also like taking the power away. Yes, Thomas. Thomas in the YouTube chat says, as a trans guy, using the F slur feels like winning. True. Like, Brennan Beckwith, in their video about Try Guys, called himself gay and posted on Twitter like, oh yeah, it's fun to play the game of like, if I just call myself gay, how many people will misgender me in the comments, like assuming that I'm a lesbian, I think is what the premise was. And I was like, see, that's the appeal of calling myself a fag. Do you want to debate people more than just chat? Yeah, so the thing is about bringing on people to call that I agree with is that I, you know, if you're my viewer, I don't want to like cause a bad interaction. Like, I don't want to scare you off. So I have to like be very conscientious about not interrupting, not being too annoyed. I have to let you talk for like sometimes extended periods of time. And I just feel like if I'm talking to someone who I don't like or who I disagree with, I might be able to have more, like I'm not going to be required to be as diplomatic. Does that make any sense? Leslie says, I hate the word cis. Why do you hate the word cis, Leslie? Let's talk about this for a second. We'll get into Jon Stewart in a minute. It's going to be my last thing that I talk about tonight. Okay, come on, Baphomet. I'm not going to put it on the stream because I don't want to make fun of this person's appearance, all right? Be good. I found something you said about Frey sexuality vaguely disagreeable at some point, I think, so we'd have intense beef going into blood sports. Yeah, my official opinion on Frey sexuality is that it seems like something that might be considered like fundamentally dysfunctional. I don't know. Why do you put it in front of the word, by the way? I need to know that first. Like, why do you mean? Like, why do you, like, if I say cis woman instead of just woman, it's like the reason why is because sometimes you do need to differentiate, like there are differences between people who were born female and are women versus people who were born male and are women. So yeah, I mean, it's because there are distinctions that need to be made. And if you just say women and trans women, then you're kind of positioning cis women as like real women or normal women, and like trans women have to be an aberration. It's not great. Isn't cis and trans just medical terms? Yeah, I mean, basically. It's a social group too, though. Like, socially, cis women are distinct from trans women. There are things about trans womanhood that are distinct, but there are also things about black womanhood that are distinct from white womanhood. What kind of sexuality? Frey sexuality. Cis and trans are prefixes. Topelzy in the YouTube chat says, it comes before because it's a prefix, or is that not what you're asking? Yeah. It's because it's not right to position non-trans people as normal. And like, so like, why would you need to qualify that I'm a cis woman? I'm just a woman. Like, that's, I mean, it's like, you get it? Like, can you see how that's like offensively positioning cisness as like normal, you know? Cis is a little irksome as far as the rules of English go. Like, we pronounce it like cis when Brain went to make it rhyme with his. Cis. Some people do say that. Some people do say that. Cis, more like sus. True, Decoy Duck. True. Oh, gosh. Okay. If you're here and you've not yet hit like on the stream, consider hitting like on the stream, because I guess we're going to talk about Jon Stewart now. Or at least in a moment, we're going to talk about Jon Stewart. And then I don't have anything else planned for the stream. We covered so much news today, which is also, it's always very exciting. So we're going to talk about Jon Stewart and a couple of things about Jon Stewart. again, I'm pretty enthused. And then we might pack it in after about 3 hours or so. That'll be cool. I have to turn off notifications for this real quick. Okay. Please stop giving me so many notifications on my phone. Thank you. Great. The two genders, male and political. True. Here's a hot take. LGBTQIA+ is a terrible acronym, and we should just use GSRM or gender, sexual, and romantic minorities. I hate GSRM. I think it's fucking stupid. And I think we should just say queer. Or LGBT+. I usually say LGBT+. And there's quilt bag too, which is also stupid, and I don't like it. Yeah, Spurious Broccoli. If you want to post something in the chat there about your own detransition, I would be willing to read it and talk about it with you. Same, I do not like GSRM. Yeah, gender, sexual, romantic minorities. Like, listen, here's okay, I'm gonna blow your fucking mind right now, okay? Gender, sexual, and romantic minorities includes cisgender women. Women are a gender minority. Mr. Atheist uses GRSM a lot. Debate him. Yeah, actually, he did invite me to come on stream with him, so maybe we should debate that. The people who don't like the F slur usually also don't like queer. True. I mean, but if you're being technical about it, Baphomet, like, gender, romantic, and sexual minority includes, like, intersex people, it includes asexual people, aromantic people, and women are a gender minority, you know? That's just my personal opinion, though, I guess. All right. It's interesting. We're starting to drop off some people. I guess it's like a weekday night, so we will sometimes have that naturally happen as it gets closer to nighttime. People tend to think of minorities as just below the 50% marker. I know that people assume that minority means minority numbers, but minority means minority status, which means that they're using, like, GRSM is incorrect, like, just actually incorrect for what the intended meaning of the word is. Ooh, Freya asks, if people were to propose a debate topic and you lined up a handful of them for stream, would you want to do a debate stream? We could do, like, a debate stream with time limits. Like, we're gonna cut it off like a hard 30 minutes or something, like a rapid fire debate stream. That could be kind of fun, especially if it was, like, all in good cheer, all in good faith. Queer is good, but it isn't great for ace and arrow, because to me it implies the absence of attraction is queer, but everyone has an absence of like, I think queer just means, like, abnormal, in the same way that, like, kink just refers to, like, technically, like, gayness could be considered kink, depending on where you put the line of normal sexual behavior at. So, like, queer to me just would include anyone who has, like, a strangeness or a difficulty. Like, my partner is gray sexual, like gray ace, because basically, like, his libido is either on or off, and it's kind of unpredictable. And it has caused issues sometimes, not like we fight about it, but, like, it has caused tension in our relationship because I am demisexual. So now that we've established our trust, I am basically willing and able at any time. And sometimes for him, it's just like he'll go a whole month and it'll just be asexual time. You know, ace time is engaged right now. And that has caused issues, like, because it's not what I would have expected from having a cis male partner, you know, like, you expect cis men to just be ready to go at any time because that's, like, the stereotype or whatever. So yeah, it's queer to me because it has caused issues, and you have to learn about it. You have to figure it out. You know, it's not the norm. Lack of attraction is queer. Being asexual involves a whole lot of deviation from the norm. Not fucking is actually a huge issue for me in my life experiences, and it dictates the way I need to go about dating. For sure. I don't like the F slur, but queer is okay with me, I guess because of getting hate crimed and being called the F slur, but I get the reclaiming. Yeah, I am just finding that, like, I don't think if anybody called me a fag right now that I would be bothered. Like, I just think that I would be like, okay. Like, congratulations. Like, yes, I am a faggot. Thank you. Like, okay. I would not be concerned. To be clear, I'm ace and arrow, just point of view on what queer is intended for. I think there's nothing wrong with others who feel queer is inclusive for them. I like dyke personally. That's basically how I'd react to, yeah. Boovine says, I think queer implies being against the status quo or against norms, TBH. Yeah, no, so that's true too. I did at one point say that Pete Buttigieg was not queer. I was like, he is gay but not queer because it's about being against the status quo. Judge Dredd is asexual, but he cannot be queer since he is protecting the status quo. Think that's fair. Faggot. True Denver. Oh, man. I'm having a great time tonight. This is a great stream. Hit like on the stream if you haven't already. Consider dropping a $5 dono or something if you're having a good time. Because I'm here to provide you with entertainment, with a certain lens on the news, with love and support. I'm here to be Stream Papa. I think Papa is fine. Like, I think I like Papa more than Baba at this point. I am Stream Papa, and I will tell you to drink water, okay? Carl Urban's Judge Dredd can get it, though. True. Damn, half the ace rep in cartoons is cops, not queer. Rip. In spite of him being a cop, not in spite of him being ace. True. Spurious Broccoli has a lot to say, so I'm letting them get it all out of there so that we can talk about their experience with detransitioning. I want to rewatch Judge Dredd now. An interesting distinction, yeah. I've noticed that it's always the most reactionary and conservative gays who refuse to call themselves queer. Yeah, I mean, they don't want to be affiliated with this otherizing term. Like, queer, fundamentally, I think, is an otherizing term. It means abnormal, effectively, you know? Okay, I'm going to start reading these things that Spurious Broccoli has been posting in the hopes that they might have caught up by the time I get there to the end. So, Spurious Broccoli talking about their detransition, saying, my doctor, therapist, and I spent months debating if HRT would be right for me. My doctor made it explicitly clear that I would grow breasts, which was undesirable for me. When I started HRT, my doctor and I agreed to go low and slow, and he gave me carte blanche to drop HRT if I was having any negative or undesirable effects. Also, not helpful to my own journey is that my little brother died by suicide mere days after I started, so there's that. After months of staying on HRT, I started to notice some breast growth before any changes other than my sweat smell changing. My boyfriend insists that I was getting softer skin, but that was largely a factor of a new skincare routine, so the breast growth was the only thing I noticed. Sorry, this is still fresh for me, and I really hate the way transition regret is used in the discourse. Yeah, no doubt. I have heard that there is some kind of new way of getting the effects of estrogen without growing breasts. If anybody knows off the top of their head what that is, or if it's safe to take, let me know so that we can, send Spurious in the right direction. In fairness, I do know some people who want to avoid the word queer simply because of past trauma. All words are going to be situational to the person you use them with, depending on trauma to me. Here's what I think. I think that we should make prolonged exposure therapy and EMDR much more available because, babies, can you all just here's a... Before the Jon Stewart segment, I have to go on a tangent for a second, okay? stop making your trauma a part of how you view yourself fundamentally. Like, you have to stop doing that. I understand you have trauma. It feels like it changed you fundamentally. I tried EMDR, but it didn't help me. You should try prolonged exposure. Because if you dedicate yourself to the process, if you just do the therapy the way that you're directed to do it for like a couple months, you can take the PTSD out from the root, you know? I don't know what EMDR is like because I haven't done EMDR, so I can't speak to its effectiveness, but I did prolonged exposure, and I think that we really need to make people aware that these treatments exist, because I am frankly really fucking tired of being around people who just like treat their trauma like it is an unchangeable, immovable, permanent aspect of their personality that you have to like accommodate forever, you know? Oh my God, excuse me. Trauma's why I got born, so it's impossible to say it's bad or not. I just don't like, I cannot be healthy and be around people who are like drowning in their mental illness all the time. Like, does that make any sense? Like, you have to view it as something that can be overcome and not like the main thing about your existence. Does that make any sense? Spurious Broccoli adds, what I really want to emphasize is that even though I have transition regret, I was warned very early about the effects I would experience, and if my insurance were more liberal with it, yeah. Wish therapy was easier to access. I'm drowning in my mental illness all the time, whoops. I just mean, like, don't let it become everything about you, you know? Like, you can seek treatment. There are, like, sliding scale clinics all over the country. For me, trauma is entwined in almost all of my life. I was literally being physically and mentally abused most of my childhood. Same. Like, I'm not trying to, like, say, like, it is possible. Like, I really, like, I basically, like, my position is, like, I refuse to, at any point, validate someone's belief that their trauma is a permanent installation, because it's, like, evidence-based treatments exist, and the evidence exists that your trauma can be worked through, and that your trauma usually develops because you don't have the space to process your emotions, and not out of a, not like what happened to you necessarily. So here's the thing, Violet Lane. My trauma being cured right now means that when the toaster goes off right in my face, I don't jump. Like if you really truly, if you have like I don't know about EMDR, like, so I don't know how effective it is, but I did prolonged exposure, and like, when I say my PTSD is cured, I mean I don't jump at loud noises anymore. I mean the physical trauma responses are no longer in my body, you know? Yeah, and Dizzy says it's unhealthy also in my experience to believe that trauma can't improve. Like, you're not going to improve if you believe you can't, right? I think that's fundamentally what I want to drive home when I'm talking about that. Is that little Foxy from FNAF? Yes, it's Foxy from FNAF. Okay, let's finally talk about Jon Stewart, all right? We've taken a long time. We've lost a lot of viewers as I've been on this tangent. Thank you to the 62 of you, or 64 of you, who are still here. If you're just coming in, hit the like button. We're about to talk about Jon Stewart, you know? Yeah, it's not someone's fault for not being cured or feeling like it's impossible or improbable due to how far the trauma has dug in. Yeah, I'm just not going to validate their belief that their trauma is permanent and the most important thing about their personality. Like, yeah, I feel like at this point I'm more likely to suggest that someone treat their trauma than I am to go super far out of my way to accommodate it depending on what the issue is. Anyway. Okay, Jon Stewart. So we're not going to watch the whole thing. I would love to watch the whole show, but we're just going to watch the interview part, and maybe not even all of it. We're going to watch most of the interview part from the show, and then we're going to have a little bit more discussion about some of the other aspects, of the Jon Stewart situation. So we're going to have a fun time. Hit like if you're having a fun time. Oh my God. No worries, Spurious. Have a great night. I hope you enjoy cuddling with your BF. I'm looking forward to going to bed later because cuddling is something that I am only going to be able to do for about 7 more weeks. And then I'm going to sleep in my own bed, which is going to be great. If you didn't know that I'm moving out of living with my partner for the past 12 years, check out the GoFundMe to help me pay my security deposit. Thank you, Ivy, for the compliment. I appreciate you. Yes. Discord. Join the Discord. Okay. So Jon Stewart has this show that I don't watch. It's his political commentary thing that he's been doing for a really long time, I assume. I have only watched 1 episode of the show because he just put out an episode this past week that was like the gender wars, basically. And I gotta say, to start with, like, it's been really weird since I have been out for like 13 years. And when I was a teenager, I like watched Jon Stewart and his coverage of the election when Obama won the first time. And it wasn't normal yet to be trans. I was learning about my trans identity on fucking LiveJournal. And it's been very weird, cool, but kind of weird to watch as we get to this point where like Jon Stewart and John Oliver have these like huge segments on their shows where they will call out transphobia and speak about trans people as though we are normal, and like using language that we have been using within the community to discuss our experiences and like putting them on a platform that I would have never expected. Stewart is my pizza father, haver of good opinions. He's been not great in the past, but he acknowledges it. He's made some transphobic jokes in the past, and he's made an effort to learn, and I really respect that. And what I really appreciate is that this interview that we're about to watch, I guess we'll go ahead and watch the full thing and like hope that we don't get caught out too badly, but that's why we saved it till the very end of stream. I want to know, like, I want you to know that journalistic integrity still exists. You can just like actually ask the hard questions, and it's okay, and it's good actually. So let's get this ready to go. Let's get ready to rumble. Okay.
Why would the state of Arkansas step in to override parents, physicians?
This is the, not this woman here is the state attorney general for Arkansas, I believe. So that's why he's asking her these questions.
Parents, physicians,
I'm gonna make it small.
Psychiatrists, endocrinologists who have developed guidelines. Why would you override those guidelines?
Well, I think it's important that all of those physicians, all of those experts, for every single one of them, there's an expert that says we don't need to allow children to be able to take those medications. That there are many instances where...
But you know that's not true. You know it's not.
Okay, so can we just appreciate that for a moment? Like, you know that's not true. Like, just straight up being, I'm sorry if you can't read it. I made it small to try to not get caught by the YouTube algorithm. Yeah, so he's clarifying, you know it's not for everyone who affirms, there's one who disagrees.
Not for everyone, there's one. There's these are the established.
Well, I don't know that that's not true. I don't know that.
Then why would you
that.
why would you pass a law then if you don't know that that's true? Wouldn't you?
Well,
have
I know
done
that
so?
there are doctors, and that we had plenty of people come and testify before our legislature who said that we have 98% of the young people who have gender dysphoria that they are able to move past that, and once they have the help that they need,
The help that they need, meaning gender conversion therapy, to be clear. When they say we want them to get the help that they need, they mean we want them to be in therapy to try to convince them to not be trans. Yeah, Giga Chad, it's going to get better.
longer suffer from gender dysphoria, 98%
Wow.
without that medical treatment.
That's an incredibly made up figure. That
She just had
doesn't
nothing to
comport
say.
with any of the studies or documentation that exists from these medical organizations. What medical association are you talking about of these doctors?
Well, we have all of that in our
She literally can't say.
legislative history, and we'll be glad
She
to provide
literally
that
cannot
to you. I
provide the
don't have
name of
that
an
off the top
organization
my head.
because
I
there
know it's
isn't
something
one.
that
You don't have the name of the organization that you're
Off the
getting
top
that
of my head.
information? Oh, okay.
Made up figure
But
hunty,
yes, we have all of that cited in all of our briefs.
You're suggesting that protecting children means overriding the recommendations of the American Medical Association, the American Association of Pediatrics,
Yep.
the Endocrine Society.
Yep.
We don't have enough data.
We don't have enough data.
to show that these drugs
The skeptics are just perpetually like there's never going to be any bar of evidence that's good enough for them. That's the thing about these people. Like, and I think he even points that out at some point during this. It's like, it's just not good enough for you, you know?
are effective, and that these children are.
But also we have like more than 30 years of documented not only puberty blockers on cisgender children with precocious puberty, but blockers for trans people have been used for like 20 or 30 years as well. It's not an experimental thing. Those people are like happy and well adjusted and fine. And frankly, like it's probably better for them and better for the economy and a lot of other things that they are not like spending that money on corrective care and not like missing out on employment opportunities because they don't pass as their target gender or whatever. Like, oh God. Anyway, she's going to say these children are better off without having access to transition.
Are better off, and that we should
You don't have
encourage
enough,
these.
or it's not enough for you.
Yeah.
Let me try.
Like, yeah.
Data.
We don't have enough data
to show that these
Do we
drugs
not have
are
enough, or is
effective
it
and that
not
these
enough for
children
you, he says?
are better off, and that we should
You don't have
encourage
enough,
these.
or it's not enough for you. Let me try and flip it a different way and see if maybe this can help.
Okay, here we
In
go.
Arkansas, if you have pediatric cancer, and obviously we all want to protect children, I think we established that earlier. Whose guidelines do you follow for pediatric cancer?
Well, I think if my child, who is 4, if I was faced with that terrible decision, then I would be speaking to my doctor. And if my doctor recommended something that I disagreed with, then I would get a second opinion. And that's what I believe that these parents need to make sure that they're encouraged
This
to
is
get
so
numerous
good.
opinions when
This
they're
part is
talking
so
about
good.
an irreversible step.
You're
in
not
their
letting
child's
them. The state's not saying, get another opinion. What they're saying is, you can't. What you're actually saying
No,
is
that's
the opposite.
actually not at all what the state said. The state simply
Like he's pointing out there that like what you just said is you should be able to get multiple medical opinions and choose which way to go when you're treating your kid with pediatric cancer. But like the state has come in and said any doctor who recommends transition treatment, like they're incorrect. The state is saying we're discounting the medical opinions of those doctors and those organizations. Terrifying and exhilarating. Yeah, this is so it's so intense, this interaction that they're having. Chemotherapy has a high regret rate. That's interesting. I mean, it does fuck your body up pretty thoroughly. It's what it's supposed to do.
said that you cannot perform these procedures. And so parents should get another opinion, and children should want to have another opinion.
that's not-
Because again, these are 9, 10, 11,
So if your
12-year-olds.
child is suffering from pediatric cancer, and the state comes in and says to you, they recommend chemotherapy, but we're not going to let you do that. You can't. We think you should get a different opinion, and here's the organization we think you should get the opinion from. They're not the mainstream, but they're an organization. So that's who you have to be treated by. Does that sound like something you would
Well, I
accept?
think that's a very extreme example. That's not at all in line with what
Oh my God, it's exactly the same situation. It's not like we're not gonna make any progress in this, okay? So if you feel frustrated, that frustrated feeling, it's gonna remain there. It's not gonna be resolved by the end of this video, okay? That's not the purpose of this. I'm sorry.
what we're talking about. We're not saying that at some point, because when you have cancer, it literally is, and particularly pediatric cancer, and having friends that have lost children
Sure.
to pediatric cancer, having a 4-year-old, I'm sure.
I've got some bad news for you. Parents with children who have gender dysphoria have lost children to suicide and depression
They absolutely
because it's
have.
acute. And
I am so deeply appreciative of his acknowledgement of that. I'm gonna do my best not to cry, because it's very easy for me to cry when I'm thinking about trans kids and that they deserve better and everything. But like, she's like, this isn't the same because pediatric cancer kills kids. And he's like, I have bad news for you. So does gender dysphoria. And you're like saying that the one method of care that is confirmed, understood to be the way that it is most effective to treat this condition. Like, you're saying you're not allowed to get that life-saving care, the care that is meant to save you, to save your mental health, to get you healthy, you know, not allowed. And the state is making that decision. What's up, Anansi? Meant to be in sooner and ask a question, but it can wait. Yeah, we're going to be doing this segment for another few minutes, at least another few minutes. So let's finish this video, and then we have some other aspects that we're going to talk about as well.
so these mainstream medical organizations have developed guidelines through peer-reviewed data and studies. And through those guidelines, they've improved mental health outcomes. So I'm confused why you follow AMA guidelines and AAAP guidelines for all other health issues in Arkansas, because we checked, but not for this.
It's simply saying, let those young people who are facing gender confusion and dysphoria, allow them to become adults and to make that decision. Allow a child to be a child.
So
Again, like, we've talked about this with Ron DeSantis. These people don't care about trans kids having the opportunity to be kids. Like, listen, I have known people who tried to mutilate their own genitals at age 5. Like, because they had such an acute amount of distress over the genitals that they had, you know? Like, it's a real thing that happens. It's fucked up. And I am so infuriated when these people are like, just let kids be kids, as though so many trans adults don't have some amount of regret over not being able to authentically be themselves in their childhood. They're like, I never got to be the little girl that I knew I was. I never got to be the little boy that I knew that I was. Like, where you, like, I, as an NB, would have been much more comfortable knowing that I was an NB at a younger age or whatever. It is so frustrating. And, like, to be clear again, if anybody says, I think we should just watch and wait, I think we should let the kids grow up, I think 98% of kids desist if you just force them to go through the wrong puberty, like, that's conversion therapy. You're just hoping that, like, it's going to be like that detransitioner we talked about earlier, like, or the would-be detransitioner. It's like, you want people to have the effects that are severe enough that they feel like they can never go back. Like, you want them to go through full puberty and become adults, because then it will be much harder for them to transition, and they might feel like, oh, there's no point to me doing that anymore, as opposed to doing the interventions before it became like, before the problems became like tens of thousands of dollars to fix them, kind of shit. Yeah, they don't think kids can even really be trans. These people, like, don't believe that kids have, like, any agency. And also, someone pointed out, like, someone tried to argue that dysphoria was less serious than cancer. And it's like, this type of person makes the same arguments about any other mental health issue. They're just like, it's not real. Use your, mind over matter or whatever. It's just very frustrating. So let's finish up watching this, and we can talk about some of the other aspects here.
Here's where we have our crossroads. You've made the determination that protecting these children means not giving them access to the guidelines and care that have been designed by medical and mental health professionals for children expressing gender dysphoria. And I'm asking you again, what are your qualifications to step in and say, no, keeping you from that care is protecting you. You've made that determination.
Well, these are irreversible decisions that these children at these young ages are making, or that their
They're
parents
not
are
making
making.
the decision. You're making it sound like a 9-year-old walks into a doctor's office and says, give me some testosterone. And the doctor goes, oh, thank God, because we're wanting to create an army of transgenders because we're crazy. And they go right in like,
No, we passed a law to protect the children in Arkansas, and I think that's what is important.
again, the medical community disagrees with you that
Well,
that's
not all of the
protecting
medical
children.
community.
Who doesn't?
We have had experts.
She still can't bring up, she cannot do it. Yeah, she's like, my sources, I made it the fuck up. True.
Testify here in Arkansas.
Okay, from what medical organizations?
Well, we have all of those in our briefs, and I apologize that I wasn't prepared to have a Supreme Court argument today in front of you, but
Like, I can just off the top of my head, the American Medical Association, the American Association of Pediatrics, the Endocrine Society, like, off the top of my head, I can just pull out these organizations that fully agree that trans kids should be allowed to transition.
we are going to have arguments on this case
Right.
when the time comes.
Yeah. So that wasn't even all the juiciest parts of it per se, but it was certainly a lot of the good parts. Now, I loved that. I appreciated it. The full episode is totally worth watching if you're willing to give your name to Apple TV, like giving your name to the Fae style. You can watch it for free. Jon Stewart's show is free on Apple TV. So if I highly recommend watching the full episode because I loved it. I found it very validating. It was emotionally evocative to me at times as a transgender person. Alejandra Caraballo did an excellent thread debunking the experts. I thank you, Dizzy, because I saw this and I don't think I saved the link to it. So thank you so much. That's perfect. I was gonna talk about something else about this, but we'll do this first. This video is gonna span a couple of different topics related to this. Make sure you're drinking water, my babes, okay? Members of my horde must be taking care of themselves, okay? You're not gonna be much of a horde if you're, starving and not sleeping and dehydrated. Okay, so again, Alejandra Caraballo, in the Jon Stewart interview with Arkansas Attorney General Leslie Rutledge, she said that they had experts in their brief that supported their state ban on gender-affirming care. However, the experts are not qualified and are ideologically motivated. Let's take a look. I'm drinking and eating vegetables. Well, good. So there. Take care of yourself out of spite. Do it. There are a total of 4 experts relied upon by the state of Arkansas in this situation. We have Dr. Stephen Levine, Dr. Mark Regnerus, Dr. Paul Hruz, and Dr. Patrick Lapert. So, Dr. Patrick Lapert is a plastic surgeon, allowed his board certification to expire and no longer practices surgery. He runs a Botox clinic in a strip mall in Alabama next to a Pizza Hut. He's never worked with trans patients and has no experience treating gender dysphoria. Sounds like Dr. Patrick Lapert has abso-fucking-lutely no right to be talking about this and is not an expert witness on this subject. Dr. Paul Hruz is a doctor affiliated with the hate group Alliance Defending Freedom. So he's biased. He objects to gender-affirming care on religious grounds, so he's... I'm not going to say delusional, but, certainly basing his opinion on non-factual, non-medical grounds then. He objects to gender-affirming care on religious grounds and doesn't care about trans youth. He stated, quote, "Some children are born in this world to suffer and die." Oh my God, are you for real? Hruz told a fellow doctor that he had a significant problem with the entire issue and, quote, "whole idea of transgender." His concerns about the relevant treatments were not based on science, but rather were a matter of his faith. One such parent testifies that the conversation had a, quote, religious tone, was not based on science, and that hers kept insisting that the child was not normal and would never be normal. The idea of doing surgeries on transgender people is wrong, he said. And in response to her assertion that transgender children without supportive parents are at increased risk of suicide, he said, some children are born in this world to suffer and die. Oh my God. That's insane. I cannot imagine, like, this person should not be around children or treat children or anything like that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that person, unqualified, and the court in Cadell rejected, oh, what was that? There was a notification. Ooh, John Getben, thank you so much for the dono. I really appreciate that. That's super kind of you. I'll add that to the tally in a moment. He shouldn't be around people, point blank. Yeah, true. So Cadell rejected most of his testimony, finding him to be unqualified, saying, quote, he has never diagnosed a patient with gender dysphoria, conducted any original research about gender dysphoria, or published any scientific peer-reviewed literature. So, unqualified. Dr. Stephen Levine makes his entire living on denying trans people access to gender-affirming care. What, really? In his testimony, he's referred to trans people as, quote, narcissistic. Why is that so common nowadays? And has practiced a form of conversion therapy on his patients. Read more here. Inmates, doctors battle over transgender medical care. Oh, God. When a trans person who passes well reveals his or her natal sex, many potential cisgender mates lose interest. When a trans person does not pass well, he discovers that the pool of those interested consists largely of individuals looking for exotic sexual experiences. What the fuck are you talking about? Transgender individuals commonly become strongly narcissistic, unable to give the level of attention to the needs of another that is necessary to sustain a loving relationship. Wow. I've heard this about, like, borderline personality disorder and about narcissistic personality disorder, but I never have seen someone just be like, transgender people are fundamentally incapable of being in a loving relationship because they are, I guess, like, there's an equivocation. So is every transgender person every transgender person has narcissistic personality disorder, but not every narcissist is also trans? Like, it's a square rectangle situation, I guess. Like, the embodiment of being transgender is necessarily to be fundamentally narcissistic and, like, incapable of empathy. How dare you not conform to my ideas of who you should be? You must be narcissistic. Thomas Bennett in the YouTube chat, make sure you change it to live chat and not top chat, because then you might see everybody's comments. Also think he's confusing low self-esteem from having their existence invalidated for narcissism. I mean, like, I do think that it's possible for trans people to become, like, very absorbed in their transition at the very beginning. That's normal. Dr. Levine almost entirely subsists on being an anti-trans, quote, expert. He's in his 80s, rarely sees patients, and does not publish any peer-reviewed research. He gets paid more than $20,000 by earning $400 per hour per case he's involved in as an expert. It's about the money for him. Wow. Someone should hire me to be an expert on shit that I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about for fucking $400 an hour. That sounds awesome. Does anybody want to pay me $400 an hour to talk about shit that I have no idea what I'm talking about? And we have Dr. Mark Regnerus, who wrote the infamous New Family Structures paper in 2012 on same-sex couples and the effects on children with a terrible methodology. The paper was ideologically driven by animus and attracted significant controversy. Thoroughly discredited by this study, no expertise in the care of trans youth. He went to significant lengths to undermine queer families with a severely flawed paper that was driven by animus. Yep. So those are the experts. No wonder she can't answer the question about who the experts are. They consistently lose in court. Alejandra says, I've litigated cases with Levine, Lapert, and Hruz. I helped prepare rebuttal witnesses. I mean it when I say these so-called experts are unqualified. So thank you, Alejandra, for her insightful remarks on this. What else was I looking at? Okay, real quick. So the other thing that I wanted to kind of move into talking about with this is that, you know, we have some understandable frustrations about not being heard, okay? Some people, now, I think that we should be happy that this conversation is being had at this level now, you know, that we are at this time in political discourse where like we're having this big backlash against trans rights, but in response to that, we do have journalists with integrity like Jon Stewart who are pushing back, who are saying like, you can't just make up bullshit. Like you can't just treat these kids like they don't matter. I really appreciate that. Okay. So I want to be happy about it. Other people are kind of annoyed about it. Now, this in particular, like, I don't understand why people would be annoyed about this necessarily. Like, and the framing of this specifically, you know, we'll get into it. So this person on Twitter who has, how many followers does she have? Is this even a big account? Yeah, 40,000 followers. That's a big account. Trans misogyny is so bad that trans people are unironically going, hooray, a famous cis man just copy pasted all of the arguments we make every day. People will listen to him. And like, yeah, we need more cis dudes to fight for us. I just wish society would care more about what we say, not require a man to repeat it for us. Like, first of all, that was always going to happen. You know, like, I'm a white and I'm here to save the day. People will listen to me talk about racism more than they'll listen to a black person. Now, they won't necessarily listen to me because I'm visibly trans. And they might think that all of my opinions are invalid on that basis. But at the very minimum, like, cis people do have, unfortunately, like, they respect other cis people's opinions more because apparently we are biased. So that was always going to happen, you know? I will say also that I think it's like, are you just so absorbed in being a trans woman that trans misogyny is the first word that comes to your mind? Or were you specifically thinking hatred towards trans women is so bad that this is the situation that we're in? Like, hatred towards trans women is so bad that trans people are unironically going, hooray, cis man, copy pasted all of our arguments. It's like, I posted like, interesting that you framed this as trans misogyny because trans men and NBs have also been ignored while making these arguments. And like, yes, it's frustrating, but obviously that was going to happen every time. And like, I especially don't understand being frustrated with this because of the effect that it's going to necessarily have. Like, don't get frustrated that Jon Stewart is being listened to and we aren't, okay? Be happy that Jon Stewart is being listened to at all, because the effect of Jon Stewart posting that episode a few days ago, I can't remember when exactly it was. I think it was over the weekend. His episode came out, and then this was posted. It was tweeted on October 10. So look at this, okay? We're going to look at what's going to happen.
Governor, this policy could be seen. I could see very easily how it excludes parents. Look, here's a question for you. The American Academy of Pediatrics says these kinds of laws about bathrooms and excluding people, ignoring their gender identity. They say, the American Academy of Pediatrics says these kind of laws can increase the risk of depression, anxiety, and even suicide among transgender youth. Did you talk to any transgender youth when coming up with this policy?
Yes, so we've had lots of interactions with
transgender youth
across the administration. And let me just back up.
Didn't answer the question.
What we're not saying is that there is no accommodation. What we're saying is parents have to be engaged in that decision. And if a child and their parent, along with administrators and teachers, choose to have accommodations for that child, they'll be granted. And see, this is where I constantly get back to, I would ask people to read the policies and to...
Or joining us, I did read the policy, but it sounds like you're excluding parents that might be supportive of their child going to the bathroom or joining a sports team that is in alignment with their gender identity.
Well, certainly not. If parents actually want their child to be able to change a pronoun or their name or use a bathroom, if parents choose that, then legally that's what the schools will do. With regards to sports teams, this is a different issue.
Of course, it's a different issue.
I believe that it's unfair for girls to have biological boys play sports with biological...
Oh, God. Okay, well, I don't want to get into the sports conversation right now. Did you see that? Okay, look at this. It's just, he just says, like, you are disagreeing with the American Association of Pediatrics.
Look, here's a question for you. The American Academy of Pediatrics
says, the American Academy of Pediatrics says do this. And, like, here, and then later he's like, it sounds like you're excluding those parents who want to, like, not even getting into talking about the fact that requiring parental confirmation means that, like, you're going to let an abusive parent torture and abuse their child. You're going to help a parent torture and abuse their child. Like you're making the state complicit in a parent's abuse of their child. You know, kind of like when the state temporarily took me away from my mom, who was abusive, and then after she did some classes or something for a month, she took diversion and just like they took me away from my dad and put me back with her. You know, like the state is often complicit in child abuse, it turns out, actually. So I just want people to recognize that this is a good conversation to be had. Like, it's a good thing that we have someone who's willing to just call someone out on their bullshit, to just say, well, you know, that's not true. That statistic is made up. Who are your experts? You know, she's not going to change her mind or anything, but at the very minimum, you know, we can perhaps increase the number of people who are like willing to do this pushback. Because, you know, we're so used to seeing, you know, on the fucking BBC or whatever, for example, they will just have so many sections of their show about trans people and bring on like a bunch of transphobes and the no actual trans people. And they stack the deck against trans people and like let the transphobes say things that are obviously untrue and inflammatory without any pushback. So yeah, we need someone like Jon Stewart right now. And I understand it's really difficult to deal with the fact that nobody gives a shit what trans people have to say about our own lived experiences. But like, again, let's not act like that's a surprise. We already knew that that was going to happen. There's a reason he says we believe. This isn't a factual debate. Yes, you are right. Absolutely, Violet. Julia Serrano made a much better version of this tweet, both praising Stewart's program and lamenting her disappointment that it resembled the Gender 101 courses she used to teach years ago and how little progress we've made societally. I totally understand being sad about that aspect too, of like, wow, I thought that we had made it further as a society. Like, why are we still chewing the same cud, basically? We're still like trying to like working on the same issues. It feels like we're stagnating and things are not getting better. And like that part, I for sure empathize with the frustration, for sure. I've gotten really good at communicating and honing my arguments because I keep having to make the same arguments over and over again, you know? It's not getting much better. But oh well. Guess it could be worse. Okay, let me... This just got updated, 2:45. Thank you so much for your donations and your likes and everything, everyone. I really appreciate that support. This is my actual job, and I am about to be living alone, so I will have no recourse if I don't make my donation goals for the month. The state is often biased towards giving the mother custody. Many times, this is true even if the mother is very abusive. Yeah, because this is a patriarchal belief that women are always going to be the better parent, you know? That women are just de facto better parents than fathers ever could be, you know? And I obviously find that to be a problem because my mom was abusive. It was not good. But yeah, it's good that we're having this pushback. It's unfortunate that we're still having these conversations after so many years. And I'm going to end the segment before my nose decides to completely close itself off. Oh my God. Anansi, what was your question? Now that I'm kind of done with the segment. Maybe kids forced in the closet can get some comfort from these vids. More acceptance made the creeps crawl out of the woodwork. That's definitely true. What? What? Hey, come here. Hello, sir. Hello, Mr. Kitty. Oh my God, that's my throat. Thank you. Okay. You are a good boy. Mm-hmm. Women are often at a financial disadvantage in child custody cases. The idea that women always win is nonsense, IMO. It depends on where you live. If you live in a red state, it's going to more often be politically motivated. Like, women can get their kids taken away. Like, it's so weird to me. Like, my mom was demonstrably abusive. Like, the state had photos of bruises on my body. And yet, like, they didn't consider that a big enough deal to, you know, my mom got like a month's worth of therapy or whatever. And they were like, yeah, you're good. Like, the abuse didn't stop, my dude. I was going to ask what you think of dronification, if you know what that is. I believe I do know what dronification is. I follow a couple sex workers on Twitter that do dronification. I mean, I don't really have a lot of thoughts about it. I mean, it's like, it's a kink that exists, and it's not on my list of kinks, for sure. I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum, but it's just not my bag. And also, like, how much do those suits cost? Or the helmets? How much do the suits or the helmets cost? Like a couple $1,000s? I feel bad for people whose kink requires like a $3,000 initial investment. That's fucking very shitty. Dronification, y'all, is like basically what it sounds like. It's a kink where you're like, I am going to put on like a helmet that cover, like, your face is gone and you look like a robot, and you're wearing like a skin tight spandex suit thing, not spandex, rubber, like a rubber suit thing, and you are a drone. It's a kink. I don't know a lot about it. I don't think you have to pay for a whole suit. Yeah, I guess it depends on like how deep you're going into it, right? Oh my god. The one bad thing about wearing mascara is like I get a cat hair in my eye and I can't just pull it out. To each their own. I like pancakes. I'm fucking hungry. Yes. Dronification is like if you want to be Daft Punk. Yes, that's exactly what dronification is. For me, I just don't get the why. The why is what gets me, not in a judgy way, but in a curious way. I think it... I kind of get the impression that dronification is probably on a spectrum with, like, bimbofication. Like, if you can no, Daft Punk is not a porno band. Well, I mean, like, is it now that dronification is a kink? Did Daft Punk exist before or after the resurgence of dronification kink? Yeah, depersonification, as Alora points out, that's one of the things that I would guess. Consensual depersonification, like objectification kink, kind of like no thoughts, head empty, I only do what I'm told. Same reason some people like it's. Yes, exactly. Smuggy chat. I mean, I guess that's kind of where we're at. As soon as somebody asks me what my opinion is about a kink, it's smuggy chat time. Anansi says, I think it goes with alienation that a good bit of them feel without the degradation. Yeah, because dronification, it's not like forced feminization or bimbofication where there's like yeah, I responded like you weren't joking, and then I realized you were joking in BJ. It's not like, yeah, there's no humiliation aspect to dronification, I think. Just like, oh, you're a good little drone. You're going to do what you're told, aren't you? I don't want to accidentally activate anyone in this chat, but it might happen. Thomas says, any kink that requires that much costumery has lost the arousal factor. It is way too much. I personally don't get it. Like, in the sense that I don't want to do it. But, I can understand, I can imagine many reasons why someone would be interested in dronification. Have you seen rope kinksters? That shit is complex. I kind of think dronification is a subby type of kink, yes. This better not awaken anything in me. Community.gif. True. Good pet is the only thing that works on me anyway. Well, I will make sure not to call you all my pets. I don't know why I would do that, you know? Can I call you hatchlings? My hatchlings? It's like calling you my younglings, or like little one. My hatchlings. Didn't I already decide that that was too parasocial? Do I care about parasocial anymore? The reason why I was so against the parasocial relationship for a while was because of Peter Coffin. So what if I just embrace the parasocial relationship and capitalize off of you? We are horties, not pets. It's true. Now I know what kind of kinks to put into my Cyberpunk 2020 campaign. True. Are you screaming? I like hatchling. It's cute and also reminds me of egg trans metaphor. That's true. But you're the horde. You're not my hatchlings. Fair enough, Violet. Yeah, I feel like it stops being parasocial when we are in a group discussion instead of tens of thousands trying to speak over each other. I mean, fundamentally, at the end of the day, what it is like, you know me in a way that I don't know you, and that makes you vulnerable to predation from me. And that's what's difficult and challenging about parasocial relationships, is that I do need you all to be here in order to make money and sustain myself. But it is also possible for me to take advantage of that relationship. So, yeah. Like, I am personally the kind of person... I think generally you shouldn't, like, try to have sex with your fans. Like, it's dodgy. You could build a relationship with someone potentially, but you'd have to be extremely aware. Not the same thing as parasocial with someone you don't know. It's more of a power dynamic. Yeah. Yes. It's not possible for me to feel as closely to you as you may feel toward me because I can't see any of your faces. You know? Parasocial is more like the relationships that caused Arcade Fire to get into trouble. When social power impacts people's sense of agency in a relationship. Same with Harvey Weinstein. What if we don't have faces because we all wear drone masks? True. You naughty little boys. Naughty little boys and NBs and girls. To be fair, I want to be faceless. Is that why you're asking with the dronification stuff? Because you want to be faceless? True, for the horde. Oh my god. The temptation to play World of Warcraft is so fucking real right now. Because World of Warcraft Classic is doing Wrath of the Lich King. And I started playing during Wrath of the Lich King. I could probably, like, play it on stream, too, and still be able to have conversations with you all. Because it's such a grindy game. Like, I don't need to pay attention to what I'm doing in WoW. I'm legit sad that Wrath and Dragonflight are coming out and I can't afford either. I can't afford well, I could probably afford the new expansions, but I'm not going to buy them. But yeah, I already have Classic, and I could afford a month of play and then see how it goes on stream and stuff. When I was younger, we didn't have the concept of parasocial, but we talked about internet friends versus real friends. I mean, that's not what I mean. Like, that's not what parasocial refers to. Legion, you could call us your Legion. Legion to me, again, because of my World of Warcraft playing, like, to me, that reminds me of demons and stuff, and that's Demon Mama's thing. That's not my thing. Excuse me. But no, like, parasocial relationship is not the same as online friends. Like, I'm friends with Baphomet and Dizzy in the YouTube chat there. But, like, I don't know Decoy Duck or Violet at all, basically. And those are two different relationships, and... So, like, my relationship with Dizzy and Baphomet is less likely to be parasocial than my relationship with other people who I don't know personally. So there's that. Paranoia Agent and Paprika both do a great job of exploring themes like that too. Paranoia Agent was so fucked up. It was so weird. It was such a long time ago, and I don't understand. I didn't understand it at the time. Back when like Wolf's Rain was on fucking Adult Swim. Hello, King Laishu. Welcome in. Yes, Mix Dizzy sends me puppy pics and memes. It's true. And I am bad at responding still, but continue to work on it. I do have a request. Could you do that sub-vocalization thing you did earlier? Like that? Is that what you wanted? I don't know how well the microphone picks that up. It's like, that's like the enhanced Tina Belcher. Like, Tina Belcher is just like, but I'm like, Paranoia Agent deserves to be studied. It's that deep. Is that not vocal fry? It's sub-vocalizations or vocal fry. I'm not sure what the name of it is specifically. But, yep, no. It's a fun thing to do on occasion. I'm so surprised that I have the amount of energy that I do right now, because typically at this time of the night, I'm like, wow, I'm super fucking tired. I don't feel as tired today. However, okay, but do that while breathing in. It sounds cooler, actually. I like that better. Very Grudge. I never saw The Grudge. Using high-end speakers at the moment, that was awesome. I'm glad it was awesome. I'm glad it sounded good. Hire me to do your voice acting shit, I guess. When you go deeper for a long time, it sounds like a dragon growl. Like, can I even control? Like, never thought about doing that before, but it sounds interesting. Now I'm gonna do that all night. If I ever get the chance to make a TV series, I'll let you know for sure. Anyway, you all are wonderful. I am probably not gonna stream again this week. I might stream on Friday, but I also might not stream on Friday. So I'm gonna get out of here. I hope that you do a good job of taking care of yourself. If I don't see you until next week, I'm doing the last weekend of Renaissance Festival this weekend, so the stream schedule is going to resume some type of normalcy after this week. So thank you all for hanging out. Your likes, your comments, your subscribes, your donations, it's all very well appreciated, and you are lovely. Yes, before we go, the U.S. Trans Survey is going to start on the 19th. So, exclamation point survey. Go to that website. Pledge to take the U.S. Trans Survey. If you're not trans, you can also take it. So yes, okay. You're all wonderful. Take care. Goodbye. 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 Also Discord. Yes, true.